It's time for Twig This Week in Google, a wide-ranging conversation, as usual this week, with Stacey Higginbotham, Jeff Jarvis, Ant Pruitt. Will play Mike Masnick's new Moderator Mayhem game and tell you what you'll learn about moderating from it. We'll talk about AI regulation, who watches the watchers, and then Stacey with a warning about a IoT device you really should not buy. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 716, recorded Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. It's pronounced Papyri. And a brief note, a portion of the show contains conversation about suicide. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a trigger warning. And of course, if you're struggling with thoughts of suicide or worried about a friend or loved one who is, call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline now at 988 for free, confidential, and emotional support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by the AWS Insiders podcast. Search for AWS Insiders in your podcast player or visit cloudfix.aurea.com/podcast. We'll also include a link in the show notes. Our thanks to AWS Insiders for their support. And by ACI Learning. CIOs and CISOs agree that attracting and retaining talent is critical. With an average completion rate of over 80%, your team deserves the entertaining and cutting-edge training they want. Fill out the form at go.acilearning.com/twit for more information on a free 2-week training trial for your team. It's time for Twig, This Week at Google, the show where we cover, was that a Topo Chico or a La Croix?
It's a Spindrift.
She's cracking out the beer already.
Oh, wait. Here. There you go. Spindrift.
Best moment in Succession this week. When Darwin, the guy who predicts election results, gets wasabi in his eye.
Wasabi in his eye.
He's going, oh, smart. And cousin Greg puts a La Croix in his face. And Tom Wamsgans says, "It's got lemon in it, you idiot."
It's only a trace of lemon, though.
It's just a trace.
Just a hint.
So you're watching it.
Yes.
It's
I
good.
love
Is it not
Succession.
good?
I love Succession.
Holy
Such a good
cow.
show.
That episode, Sunday night's episode,
I haven't watched the rest of it yet.
it made me queasy. It was too close to reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was scary as hell. I said this on Mastodon. Sometimes fiction can be closer to the truth than fact. You know what I mean?
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good show, though.
Let's play. Could you have any game show music?
Game music.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, I'm Leo Laporte, and it's time to play Moderator Mayhem. This is the latest.
Your host, Mike Masnick.
Mike Masnick. The latest.
Wait, we haven't introduced ourselves.
Oh, sorry.
You realize that?
That is
I distracted us. That is my fault. I just didn't know if you cared.
Higginbotham of Stacey on IoT.com and the IoT podcast. Hello, Stacey.
Hello, all.
Great to see you and your La Croix. Let's say hello to Ant Pruitt, who's sitting next to me, which I like. You know, we did the thing that you're not supposed to do in business. I made everybody come back to work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
very,
ogre,
very
you.
taboo.
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, you bad
I
guy.
said
You
we
such
want
a horrible
all
man.
hosts, editors, and producers in studio from now on. So that's how it used to be.
Oh, you don't want the laptop? What was
Laptop la-las? Elon's laptop la-las?
Oh, no,
I don't agree with Elon.
Here.
I don't agree with him on that at all. But,
It's good to be here.
Until COVID, everybody was here. You know, and occasionally people would work from home, but everybody was here. Then in COVID, nobody was here except me and Jammer B. And then COVID's over.
No, it's not, but go ahead.
Well, the CDC and the World Health Organization say it's over, so I mean, it's mostly over. You don't see anybody wearing masks anymore, and hospitalizations are down 90%, deaths are down 95%. It's going to be endemic from now on. It's not a pandemic. It's like the flu. It's endemic, and yeah, it could still kill you if you're somebody like Jeff. So
now I'm feeling at risk around you. You see, I'm afraid it's going to come through the microphone.
that is the Wellmast director of the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Jeff Jarvis, good to see you.
Good to see you, Buzz.
Buzzmachine.com. Yeah, so I said, Lisa and I were talking. I said, you know what I'd really like for Christmas? I'd like everybody to come back.
It's not Christmas yet, though.
Well, it's early Christmas. Christmas in July.
It's Christmas in May.
Yeah. I think it's better. We had our editorial meeting, which has been on Google Meet for the last 3 years. We had it in person yesterday. It was great.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But I never went home. You know, I've been here the whole
You were
time.
just feeling lonely. That's
I was
Weirdo.
getting lonely.
Weirdo.
And I feel like there's a certain creative energy and just a happiness that happens when we're all together. And I know that I'm sure that nobody has come to me and said, I hate you. But I'm sure there's people who feel like, why are you doing this? And it worked at home. It's not like the work wasn't getting done.
Yeah, it worked amazingly well.
Yeah, but the work was getting done.
We did it a lot better than NBC, ABC, and all of those cats.
I just missed you.
Give people some options, though.
Yeah, you can wear pajamas to work if you want.
Well, actually, I am.
Kind of is, isn't
What's
it?
for lunch today? What was your free
lunch today? Was Acme Burger. It was pretty good.
Yes, man.
By the way, every
good.
Wednesday, we've been buying people lunch. We even have massages sometimes.
Yep.
Doesn't mean they come in. They come in, they eat the lunch, and they go home.
No comment.
There is no free lunch, folks.
I don't know. This is the Reddit, the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole?
Nah.
I just want people to be here.
It might become on the anti-work subreddit.
It could.
If you're not lucky.
It could, and I don't know. It feels better when we're all together. Anyway, let's play Moderator Mayhem. This is I've introduced everybody now. This is hey, it's time once again to play Moderator Mayhem.
Nice work, Mr.
The new
Vito.
game, content moderation game from Mike Masnick and Tech Dirt. Are you ready to play?
Yeah.
Contestants, I'm going to skip the tutorial because you guys have played
We have
before.
Stacy here.
Yeah, Stacy's
She can
played
tell you
this.
everything.
She says, anxious.
It's terrifying.
How disturbing is this going to be?
It's not that disturbing. I mean,
It's asking
not-
you about things.
it's asking you. You're not going to see anything visible.
Oh, okay.
doesn't show up.
Okay. Good luck with moderating your first reviews. I'll be checking in to offer guidance and feedback. I can't believe Mike Masnick. This guy does so much, and he has time to do this.
Oh, he's been working on this for a long
You've
time.
been here to
I can't wait
judge.
to
You're
wait
here
for
to judge these reviews based on Trust Hive's policies. While I may give you feedback on some decisions that I agree or disagree with, there isn't time to immediately review all of your decisions. At the end of that round, I'll share a policy accuracy score that shows how well I think your decisions align with Trust Hive's policy. There's no such thing as Trust Hive, right? That's for the game.
I hope not.
Right. The idea is that you have been employed as a content moderator at Trust Hive,
Okay.
a mythical company.
Does this mean
And
I
you're
live in
gonna
the
go through-
Philippines?
Yeah, sure.
And you can find out about the rules as you go, and more information. Stacy will tell you how to flip
Okay.
things.
Round one.
Okay.
Reported for illegal. By the way, I serve this on our Mastodon instance. I do this on our Mastodon.
You got to stop talking.
You got to keep going,
buddy.
then. Keep going.
A review
It's
of
adding
new,
cards as you go.
a review of new electric vehicles
There.
includes a video of the reviewer driving. Fun while driving. No, X means
It's
not
correct.
legal.
Correct. Yeah, but you don't mean to exit. It's correct. Go.
It's correct.
Click. God,
Oh,
you're
it is
slow.
illegal.
Go.
I get it. It is illegal. Okay.
Good call. Okay.
No. Okay.
Harassment. A review of a skincare line that tests on animals claiming they are puppy and bunny killers. So what does that mean? Do I click the green check means what? It's okay?
Green means it's okay, and you're going to let it go.
X
X
means
means
it's-
you're going to kill it.
Okay.
Kill it.
Kill it?
Kill it.
Sometimes more context
And
can
here's-
help you more clearly see
See,
the
you could
line
have got
between
more context,
spam.
but no, you listen to Stacy, who just made a snap decision.
Okay.
Well,
Reported
no.
for spam. Review of a new restaurant includes links to coupons for a free appetizer. Let's see those. Let's see that. Keep holding the button to take a closer look at the content. The owner of the restaurant is a popular Trust Hive top reviewer and trying to reward his fans with discounts at his new restaurant. Wow.
I'd let it go.
Okay.
Yeah, I say it's okay.
Our CEO has asked us to look at this one closely.
Oh, okay. Kill it.
Privacy. Review of an airport includes photo of a private plane. That's the CEO of... Okay, we're going to kill it.
Hard.
We're going to kill it. A review of a laptop promoting anti-malware software that you should download for your new laptop. Oh, that's okay. Products being promoted, the last one was malware itself. Whoops.
Yeah,
I should have looked closer.
Yeah, messed that one up.
Review of a protest following reports of the governor being accused of sexual harassment includes images of a protest sign that people are reporting. The sign reads
That's
end
fine.
men.
Approve it.
It's okay to say end mem. I'm fired.
You're fired. You're too sorry. I knew that was going to happen to you.
Dang.
So what have we learned here?
So
you have to work
you're
fast.
way slow.
I'm
Your
thinking.
explanations are killing you.
I'm thinking.
So when I played it, I got a 67% accuracy. I just read it and I just made a gut decision based on my morals. Half the time they were like, or my like, I'm like, eh. And then it would come back every now and then and be like, Stacy, you should have looked closer. It didn't say my name, but look closer. And it had information that I would absolutely not have any idea why I should look closer at it, but sure. Or it would be like, you're wrong. And then
Mike says there's no correct answer. So you're not going to hear right or wrong, but your manager might tell you that they disagree with your decision or might not. At the end of each session, you'll get a general update on how your manager.
Let's do another round.
This is to simulate.
So I was
67%.
That is so hard.
You'll get a general update on how your manager thinks you're doing in accurately applying company policy. You'll get a sense of your job security. So I got fired like right away. And I guess the point of all this is to show you how hard it is to do that job. Yes?
Right. I couldn't do this.
And if you played a little bit faster, you would actually, in the middle of like looking at stuff, if you wanted to get more information, a little thing would come up and be like, hurry up. The comments are piling up.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, okay.
Yeah. That's what Mike's saying. He says you can look for more content, but that's going to slow you down, and speed is of the essence.
Right.
So
even if it weren't, it's still hard.
Yeah.
Right. Even if speed were no factor at all, the cases are not easy. They're not obvious.
Yeah. Like I had to pause. Like I went in thinking, okay, I'm not going to be like Trust Dive. I'm just going to go with like Stacy's gut reaction to these things.
Well, why are we so hard on these social media platforms if this is?
I guess that's part of the point.
That's the point.
Well, that's the point. And this is a really good way, like to me. So I think we talked about like Google adding AI to search and what that means for like content, like journalism and content and revenue, those kind of things. But this is a really good example of how journalists, if your goal is to show people viscerally, and it used to be through storytelling, how life affects people, like how policies and whatnot affect people. This is actually a great way to go to the next like iteration of journalism, is to create something that shows people how policies work.
Yeah. Because it's not just that you'll have a sympathy for the poor people who are employed to do this, but also just how it is difficult. Even if you had all the time in the world, it's not, these decisions are always difficult.
And this is for things, I mean, imagine a Congress critter playing this game and being like, oh, what we're asking is pretty much impossible.
There you go.
Or the nation of Germany. Yeah. When Facebook was researching its oversight board, and they had went to 6 cities and 40 people in each room and professors and lawyers and such in there, they would break us up into groups with these kind of hypotheticals. And you're at a table with 10 brilliant people. I was at a table with Kate Klonick, and they aren't easy. And that's the point. There were real cases. And even if you look at the oversight board cases, they're not easy. It's humanity. Humanity's not easy.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of humanity, I've decided to hire 4 professors of college journalism to help us. So we were looking at, you might have seen this on Twitter or Reddit, Midjourney created a series of professors. You basically said, I want a psychology professor and so forth. Let me show you a little bit of the video so you can see anthropology, art history. There was some gender discrimination. The soft sciences got women and most of the other ones got men. But there's also some, you pointed that out, Stacy, that the psychology professor's houndstooth jacket was pretty right on. And what's cool is this is Midjourney. These are indistinguishable from real photographs, I think, right? Ant, you're a photographer.
I agree.
I think these could really be real people. We don't see their hands. Yeah, we don't see their hands. But you know what? Midjourney 5 has been trained on hands, so it's better at hands. So, but Jeff pointed out, where's the journalism professor? So we decided to use Midjourney 5.1. And so this is what, and I don't know about the first one. The second one looks like a journalism professor. Yeah. Which do you think, Jeff?
Ah, man.
Oh, they're kind of dorky.
I've never had a cool journalist.
I was going to say, wait a minute, journalism professors.
I think number 2 is we're going to upscale number 2. I think
I'm leaning towards 2 and 3.
And 3, you like 3? Let's look.
3 looks like he has a drinking problem.
Let's look more closely.
Again, journalism professor.
Yeah,
drinking problem.
That's fair.
That looks like. But by the way, one of the criticisms of these original professors were they were all, they were white except for the ethnic studies professor.
Right.
But look at this is, I think, an African American. Is he? I don't know. I can't tell.
I would say South Asian.
They're all men.
But they're all men.
Well, the women don't teach journalism.
And let us be clear. This Petapixel said this revealed the bias of the AI. No. It's the bias of the academy in the real world.
Human life.
Right.
Which one of this one?
Yeah, but by doing that, it just re-emphasizes the fact that women don't belong. If I don't see myself represented there, I don't.
Yeah.
But Stacey, here's the question.
Yeah.
Is it better? No, I'm not going to say better or worse. Is there a point at which you edit it and enforce it to show a vision that isn't a mirror of society? Or do you recognize the mirror as a bad image of ourselves?
So this is a lovely segue into something I haven't written, but I think a lot about for journalists in training on AI, which is they need to understand how this was trained. So was this trained on like journalism professors at 10 universities? Like
we don't know if it was even trained on professors at all, right? We don't know.
Right. We don't. But understanding your subset of training data is important. And then understanding like the probabilities and how it comes up with this is also important. And journalists don't usually ask those questions. And I think it's an important question to ask because, Jeff, that may reflect reality at the 20 places the data was scraped from, right? We don't know. But that's not the reality. That's a subset of reality that this was then trained on. It may not actually reflect the accurate world. It reflects the world that of English speaking, whatever.
You're saying
that's why
bias.
Journalists need to ask this.
There's inevitably there's bias.
We take this as, because it's driven by data, right? It's a computer. So we take it as a factual representation of something that's based on an image of the world that we can trust because it's generated by a computer. But what we don't realize, just like statistics, we don't understand how that data was manipulated going in. And we need to, as a journalist.
This is exactly
as people.
What Stochastic Parrots, Timnit Gebru, and Margaret Mitchell said.
Oh my gosh. Can I just start taking a drink every time you say this was exactly?
But this is their point. Was because they're computers, they're given more credence than they ought to be, and that the biases are hidden and they're built into these large language models.
Where the model is so huge and you can't have that kind of transparency because you have no idea when it's too big.
Now, the harm done by this compared to the harm done by face recognition used by law enforcement is not as harmful, right? I mean, law enforcement using face recognition is throwing people in jail that didn't commit a crime. That's a problem.
Right.
So, I mean, there are different harms as well.
Well, where's the government going to step in on this? What can they do if this data set is so massive?
Oh, well, after this week.
For the smart people to get in there.
Yeah, you don't want government to say anything, do you? I mean, it's not their business.
Well, they should. So the Biden administration has put forth things about like their AI Bill of Rights. And part of it is testing for bias and looking for like measuring the outcomes of different algorithms and seeing who those impact and publishing that data. So I think that's actually really important because then you can know like, okay, we tested it. Now, how often they test it, it's not like it's a static thing is a big deal. But then you can say, okay, I've audited this. It predominantly shows you white men in positions of power. That's good to know. That's like a little caveat at the bottom of your results.
Here is Anthony Nielsen's alternative universe of journalism professors, 2 of whom are for no reason we know of wearing their mortarboards.
Interesting.
Jeff, do you do that? Do you just wear your
Sure,
wear your mortarboard?
Hey, it's graduation season.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
hard with my CPAP and the mortarboard. It gets a little messy, but
So this is interesting because this week, of course, Sam Altman and others testified in front of Congress. On this very subject. Sam said, yeah, you got to regulate us. He also said, I make no money from this job, which I thought was interesting.
Well, the worst thing he said was you should license producers of AI. It was just frightening.
I really think that's a bad. So it's a difficult thing. I understand. And there's bias. I think the most important thing you could do is just get everybody's awareness raised as to the issue of bias, and to get people who train these AIs to do the best they can to eliminate bias wherever, they
should have had the stochastic parents papers authors there.
Yeah, I agree. Not Sam Altman.
As if he speaks for all AI now.
Yeah. He's the CEO of OpenAI, incidentally.
He's the next Mark Zuckerberg.
Which, by the way, Elon Musk took credit for. He said, I started that.
Of course.
Wouldn't be here without
Started
me.
it and left, right?
Wouldn't be here without me. I don't know. So, Stacey, what do you think is the solution? Do you think licensing and regulation is the way?
I think having some sort of oversight for, there's different places where AI is going to be used. If AI is in a decision-making body, I think every single regulatory agency right now needs to have an AI bureau where they start evaluating. So if it's medicine, they need to be evaluating medical programs. I mean, because when we say regulate AI, what the hell are we talking about? It's so broad.
Remember the call for ethicists in medicine and other areas. And I think the medical ethicists exist, and some hospitals have them. Insurance companies need them for sure.
They have IRBs. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah. I mean, this whole notion.
They also hire ethicists on staff.
But even things like, the Homeland Security.
Internet Research.
Institutional Review Board.
Thank you. Institutional Review Board. Thank you.
Did I
say internet? Did I say internet?
Yes. I was like, your IRB is different than my IRB.
Jesus. Oh, man. Every I stands for internet.
Would it be adequate to do what we did with medical ethicists to do that? Should we have AI ethicists?
No, I just think you need to create a regulatory system that's part of that does the auditing functions, that handles complaints. So you haven't like a weights and measures. Like if your gas station doesn't give you the right amount of gas, you complain to the states. So if your algorithm gives you some crappy result and you feel hard done by it,
the problem
then you
is
have a place to go and seek restitution.
Have a bureau of weights and measures, because a leader is a leader. It's a little bit harder to say, that AI is off.
Against what
you have
standard?
to be, you have to. So here's what we're dancing around, and we need to stop dancing around. We need to stop thinking that AI is technology that is neutral. It isn't. And then government needs to say, okay, we also have to recognize that it's the government's role to set parameters. So we have to say, hey, as a government, we actually don't want AIs that disproportionately affect Black people. And this is a hard conversation. This isn't easy, but historically we've been able to throw the actual decision-making over the fence by saying it's a technology thing. This isn't actually a technology thing.
This is why I brought up medical ethicists, because instead of government regulation, what insurers, and of course they have a big lobby, so they went to Congress and said, you better not tell us what we can and cannot do. Health insurance, there's no standard for whether they're going to allow that procedure or not. But that's why they said, but we're going to have these ethicists who are going to help us make the decisions of who gets a heart when you have one heart and 2 people who need it. That kind of thing. You can't that's hard to make a regulation on.
Right.
In fact, I wouldn't want government to say, well, these are the 23 criteria that you have to use to judge who gets that one heart. I'm not sure I'd want that. Is that the right way to go?
No. I'll give you another
solution.
Yes,
that's tough.
Or
Yes,
so the heart example is actually a really good one because you have an ethics board. Actually, you have I don't know who I think for hearts, and I don't know if this is 100%.
Yeah, you have transplant boards. Yep.
You have a transplant board who looks at cases on an individual basis. Now, here's what's important. It used to be, sometimes the transplant board members are public, right? So you can actually see if you're going to investigate like a particular heart donation, you could actually see like, did that person have like secret ties to them or not? Or who these people are.
Right.
So there's an accountability metric there at both who's on the board itself is an accountability metric for the hospital. Like we've reviewed this and here's the decision making. There's accountability for who's making the decisions. So we know what their interests theoretically could be. I think that's important. And having something for that to evaluate an algorithm, because they're going to be in every organization and throughout society, you need to have those stationed in the appropriate places. So a hospital review board, you may have a review board deal with medical AI, and it would evaluate the outcomes. And this is what's important, the outcomes of the AI, and see if those align with what the hospital itself wants to promote. Or maybe it's at the FDA level, and the FDA is going to say it'll audit the AIs and say, these are the decisions it's making. These are not in line with the outcomes we want to promote as the United States of America, right? So we have to establish those at different levels where AI is going to be implemented. You need to have it at like maybe your attorney general at your state should be looking at police and judges, like AIs that are used in the criminal justice system. Like, this is hard.
I'm going to suggest
sort of
a few other things.
Yeah, go
One is, and you started to get to it, Stacey, is that it's not about the AI, it's about the use, right? And we talked about this on the show a lot, that if you use facial recognition to arrest someone with no other facts, that's a misuse of the data and so on. The other thing I would say, and I was about to write this up, I think it's time for us to demote the engineers. I think it's time for us to bring in other, not just ethicists as the ghetto of ethics, but to bring in the humanities, to bring in anthropologists and philosophers and sociologists and psychologists. If you were going to start a newspaper today, you wouldn't put the pressman in charge. If you're going to start a TV station, you wouldn't put the camera operator in charge, though Jammer B would be a very good head for the company, I might add.
But the thing is, Mr. Jarvis, we've been saying this for the last couple of years now. Why hasn't that changed? It's been put out there in the public that, hey, the people that are in the business of training these systems need more diversity within the departments. That's been preached over and over and over again, and it hasn't changed as of yet.
Well, I think the stuff we're talking about today, Ant, is still new. We haven't seen this, and again, we don't know. It so much depends on the use, right? If you have this system that maps the relationships of all words that we have available, right? You could use that to query it and say, what are the biases in society? In that case, you don't want to clean up the biases. You want to know what they are.
I want to know what they are. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Or if you say, I want to use this to train children on their career opportunities. Well, then you have a completely different use, and you're going to judge the output completely differently. So it's not about the AI is good or bad. It's what was the intent? How was it trained? To what end? And is the output beneficial and useful or not? And then how do humans use it? Do the police use it badly? Do mortgage companies use it badly? Do doctors use it badly? The bad stuff is going to come with misinterpretation and misuse from the humans after the fact. So it's not about fixing the AI. It's kind of the petapixel thing is the AI doesn't have the bias. Society does, or the training set did, or the prompt did, or our own vision does. And so Stacey's right. It's not simple, but it also isn't limited to this thing we call AI.
Oh, you can't regulate AI. That's so stupid. And I wish we would stop talking. We have to regulate the use of it.
Yes, Stacey.
Oh, what's the difference between regulating AI and regulating the use? You're saying we should regulate
use case,
it.
You have to regulate the use of it already. We're seeing things
like who uses it. Like you would say it's okay for me to use Midjourney to generate pictures of professors, even if they're biased.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I would point that out to you. I'd be like, look.
Yeah, but it's not going to be regulated, I would hope.
Right. No, you can't regulate
There's also
what you
the risk of regulation of regulatory capture, and I think that's what Sam Altman wanted.
But you know what? Regulatory capture is going to happen regardless, and we see they're just pissed because if you have the option of regulatory capture, then they have to spend money on lobbyists. I mean, I get that regulatory capture exists, but I hate that as an argument for not regulating anything, because then you're in this free fall, everybody does whatever they want.
Yeah, you just should just pay attention to who's asking for the regulations.
Right, you totally should. And then when you see
who's benefiting from the regulation. Yeah.
Right.
But what we're talking, I mean, and Jeff, you brought up, Jeff is right in the sense that you have to regulate the use of it. And when you see use cases, and you have to have regulations in place so you can actually demand that that a company is telling you when they're using an algorithm to make a decision.
So there's
demand that you have access to it.
There's two whatabouts that I would raise. One is, what about other nations? What about China, for instance, who will not be governed by, but they're not going to be governed by regulation. They're going to develop AIs. They're going to get increasingly powerful while we are hobbling.
Or they're going to overregulate it, which one of the senators was basically using it as a model, saying, well, China regulates this output, maybe we should.
Well, yeah. We have regulatory capture as an issue here, which is that the incumbents influence, or because they care, influence legislation, and it ends up benefiting them. In China, the incumbents are the People's Republic of China, the government, the CCP. So they were going to have it be influenced in such a way that it's to benefit them.
Yep.
So that's their version of regulatory capture. But that's the first what about. The other what about, which concerns me also, is regulation can keep us from making progress in tradition. And this is one of the reasons they didn't regulate the internet initially. Maybe we should have, I don't know. But because it was a new and exciting, innovative sphere, they felt that it's too soon for government to intervene, and that could hurt our development of AI.
So we're not talking about regulating the development of AI.
Well, they were in the Senate, Stacey.
I know.
You're not. I know. But they were.
But that's what. So you're throwing your whatabouts in something. I'm proposing concrete regulatory steps that we can take to prevent actual harms from AI, and then in response to that, you're throwing me whatabouts that actually don't relate to that at all. So if you want to ask me what about regulatory capture? I would say, yeah, that happens, and we're going to have to look out for it, but that's not an excuse to not regulate. If you're going to ask, what if that stops us on innovation? I would say none of the steps and concrete proposals I've made actually stop our ability to innovate.
Stacey, but now put on your senator hat. I know Leo is normally the senator here. But now I would like you to be in the Senate, because the Senate is not a diverse body.
So I should look like an old white man.
Yes, you should. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, or act like one. So, I mean, as Lindsey Graham said outright. No, you got to look grumpier.
You could be an old white woman like Dianne Feinstein.
Then you won't know where you are.
Okay, keep going, Jeff. I'm asked, what am I asking?
Thank you. So Lindsey Graham said, should we license? And Sam Altman said yes. So this idea that's part of what I think we're talking about here is not just the sensible things you're saying and I'm saying, but where it's headed is the reflex was to say, it'll be okay if we license this. Now then it's pure regulatory capture, because then Sam Altman said, well, just for us big guys, because I can handle it, right?
I do not think we should license companies to explore AI, if that's the question you're asking.
Yes, that's the question.
That is a silly idea.
I don't understand the premise of how is that doable to license?
You can create a licensing regime to stop. I can't put up a nuclear power plant if I want.
You can't be a barber.
All right. Yeah.
Unless you go to barbers.
Depending.
You can, however, get a gun and kill lots of people.
Yeah.
But you can't make an algorithm.
Can't be a barber, but you could also be someone that sells fruit on the side of the street in front of a business that had to go through all of their little regulations.
It's true, but I mean, if
this is the same premise.
If Queen Pruitt wants to be an esthetician,
right,
she's going to have to go to the state board and pass exams and take classes, pay a lot of fees. That, by the way, that is another form of regulatory capture, because that keeps the number of estheticians low, right? Actually, that's something Shoshana Weissman, who's a regular on some of our shows, is very involved in, is this whole idea of licensing that really ends up just being, keeping everybody out so we can keep our salaries high.
You know what? I introduced Shoshana to the network when she hasn't been back on this show since the first time.
Well, she goes on the big show.
She's been in the big show.
She's too big for you.
Yeah. She's past you, sir.
No, you know what? Somebody's taking time off in the next couple of weeks. I can't remember if it's you or
me.
Stacy.
Next week I'm gone.
Get Shoshana on. We're trying to. I think we have a list of people. We're trying to get Chris Messina, who said he would be on.
Yeah.
We're hoping we can get him on. The inventor of the hashtag, and one of the people who was a real stalwart at Twitter, who just recently said goodbye to Twitter. He didn't work there.
Chris Messina is also an actor. This is why I get
different Chris Messina.
Different Chris Messinas, yes.
But Chris is a great guy. I've been a fan for a long, long time. Not the guy, not Danny Castellano in the Mindy Project. Not that Chris Messina.
He's in the new Air Jordan movie, the Ben Affleck movie.
That Chris Messina.
Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw somebody on Twitter today said they had deleted all of their tweets and all of this and all of that evidently Twitter brought back some hosting site they weren't using, and they were all back.
Twitter has so many bugs in the software.
Now, you can't delete anything.
And you can't delete it, or then you don't have any choice, or then you get it all deleted, or you just don't know it's kind of, you never know from day to day what you're going to get.
Oh boy.
The latest thing is they said they're going to delete people who have not posted in a certain amount of time. So I'm watching.
Which is scary for dead people being taken over and
actually, this is a Google story. Let's take a break because this is a Google story I want to talk about because Google has announced something similar.
Yeah.
And there's some real concern about that, but we'll get to that in a moment.
I will argue for it.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh, then I'll argue against it just because that's what makes a show.
And I will put on a striped shirt and encourage you both to fight. But first, a word from our sponsors, the AWS Insiders Podcast. Have you heard this? It's great. Fast-paced, entertaining, insightful look behind the scenes of Amazon Web Services and cloud computing in general. AWS is the dominant platform for cloud. And I imagine there's so much to talk about. And this is not your typical tech podcast, not like us. High production value, high energy, high entertainment, and full of anecdotes and stories from the early days of AWS to today. The host, of course, Rahul Subramaniam, is great. Subramaniam is great. Hillary Doyle, but I'll call him Rahul if you don't mind. Rahul and Hillary dig into the current state and the future of AWS by talking with the people and companies that know it best. Rahul has been an AWS pro for over 15 years. He's managed more than, get this, 45,000 AWS instances. He doesn't work at Amazon, but he works with Amazon. He's known for pushing AWS products to their limits and for believing AWS is truly literally the operating system of the future. So he's a great guy to hear and listen to because he's got the vision for what AWS could become. AWS Insiders is not just one-sided, though. It's full of opinions, takeaways, untold stories about the challenges and innovations and the mind-blowing promise of cloud computing. How to avoid the pitfalls of IAC. Season 2, Episode 1, you're seeing it right there, filling the cloud talent gap. If you have a company and you're using the cloud, staffing that cloud team is not easy. Rahul and Hillary discuss ways to find, retain, and level up cloud talent. I was very interested in Episode 3 of this most recent season. They talk about Moderna. Did you know Moderna, which of course makes one of the two very successful COVID vaccines, Moderna was born in the cloud in 2010. AWS was brand new, about 4 years old, and it's one of the kind of the secret recipes Moderna had to become a premier biotech company. It's Episode 3 of the new season. Moderna, highly recommend it. If you're interested in the cloud, you've got to look for AWS Insiders in your podcast player. You can also just go right to the web, cloudfix.aurea.com, cloudfix.aurea.com/podcast. We'll put a link to in the show notes at twit.tv/twig. But, the easiest thing to do, get your podcast client and look for AWS AWS insiders. I don't give a lift and shift. That's one of the great episodes. Cloudfix.oria.com/podcast or search for AWS Insiders in your favorite podcast player. And we thank them so much for supporting our podcast. I like that.
Thank you.
I like doing ads for podcasts. I like growing the podcast club.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for a blood sacrifice, in the words of Logan Roy. I will put on my striped shirt, and in this corner, weighing in at 110, it's Stacey Higginbotham in the red trunks and the red hair. On that corner, it's a professor of journalism. You know what that means. And now I forgot completely what you're going to debate. Oh, what? I got to do the story first. Yeah. So Google announced, and
we can debate anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll just start.
Just debate. Will you? Just debate. Fight over it. Fight.
Crossfire.
Google has said, and I think this scared me when they said it, that they are going to start deleting accounts that aren't active, kind of like
2 years.
Twitter said. But then so at first people go, not YouTube. What about all those great YouTube videos that were posted once and then nobody's still doing it? And then I know that our friend, the creator liaison at YouTube, Mr. Rene Ritchie, said, no, don't worry. We're not talking about YouTube. Oh, okay. Are you sure? I'm going to presume Rene has the insight.
Talking about Gmail.
But they will be Gmail. It will be, I don't care about Gmail, I care about the public square, and I'm more concerned about blogger sites. Because aren't there sites that have, been active for years that are still important historically?
Are they not on Internet Archive at this point?
Yeah, but we shouldn't have to rely on Internet Archive to preserve our history.
And it'd be dead links.
Yeah.
And Internet Archive is incomplete. So if only, but afraid not.
The Great Google Account Purge starts December 2023. It will slowly happen, but for instance, if you've been inactive for 2 years and you're already over that mark, your account's not going to be deleted immediately. Google says you'll get lots of warning. Don't worry about that. I can understand Gmail. That I guess.
But why should Google hold on to accounts that were created by mistake? Someone created an account and forget the password within an hour, so they go and create a new account.
Yeah, I understand that.
Or not to mention the bot accounts that were automatically generated.
And they say if you have an account, you want to keep it active, just sign in once every 2 years. That's not a lot.
That's not a lot, but that's enough to say, I'm here, the light's on.
Well, Stacey, you go ahead and defend it too.
Okay. The internet is not free. There are resources and energy devoted to all of this stuff.
Amen.
And if you're not using it, you should get rid of it. Now, the best way to do this is to provide the warning that Google says it's going to provide. So yay. 2, it should also, I think this would be an awesome time to either Google makes a big donation to like the Wayback Machine or the Internet Archive, or we actually talk about creating some sort of publicly funded or company funded infrastructure for things of value for the
maybe
public
Library
square.
of Congress, right? Maybe that's what.
Yeah, I mean, our tweets are there, right? So we should
unfortunately.
But that's the thing. We think the internet is free, and it's cheap. It's way cheaper than paper, but it's not free. So, if you think about the environmental costs of saving all of this stuff on these servers, and even YouTube, y'all, I know that there's a billion, I don't know how many hours. They'll tell you how many, more hours than one person could ever watch. And I don't think it's wrong of them to get rid of it, especially if they try to do it in a responsible manner that's, lets you know.
I don't know how responsible it's going to be because the blog post said, quote, if a Google account has not been used or signed into for at least 2 years, we may delete the account and its contents, including content from Google Workspace, Gmail, Docs, Drive, Meet, Calendar, YouTube, and Google Photos. To which, of course, a lot of people who said there's, one of my favorite things is 5 years old on YouTube. There's a lot of tech TV stuff that somebody posted. They're long gone, but that stuff's there. I understand, Stacey, it's a shame that Google has to pay the freight to keep that up there, but that was kind of the deal they made.
Yeah.
In any event, Google then backed down this is why I'm not sure I trust them, because then they said, oh, wait a minute. No, not YouTube. But it says YouTube.
This is a dialogue. They also, in their thing that when they originally posted it, they also said that it wasn't good, that it would be discretionary, or they would look at things. So
what I saw is it mentioned something about videos having potential historical value, not just cat videos.
How are they going to judge? They're going to judge that.
But you know what? If you want your 5 years of tech TV, Leo, host it yourself and stick a link on the internet.
Well, let me try to argue now. May I?
Well, first of all, I don't have access to it, so that is in fact the only place that exists outside of NBC's vaults, and they won't let us access it. We tried very hard.
Oh.
So that is the only place that exists.
Well, NBC uses their
great
YouTube accounts, so it ain't going anywhere.
This is a good reason to talk about changes.
It's not official NBC accounts. It's just somebody who VHS'd it and has put their VHS tape on YouTube.
And literally recorded their screen with the camera.
Or whatever.
Stuff. Yeah.
Can I argue now?
Okay, yeah. Can I just make one final thing?
So give me more to argue with. That's fine, yes.
We have lost billions of records over the last millennia. I mean, if we even just look at books that are out of print, and it's sad, so sad, but it's gone, and we keep making stuff. I'm not a sentimental person.
Nobody expects a publisher to keep a book in print.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's a very
so go on, Jeff.
Hold on.
But one thing the publisher doesn't do is then burn the existing copies of the books. They don't make new ones.
That's what happens. That's why the internet's so cheap, y'all. I mean, this is what defines the internet. Go, Jeff.
Take who in our Discord says, how the hell is Elizabeth Holmes going to prevent her Gmail account from being deleted? She's going to go to jail for 15 years. What is she going to get when she comes back?
Someone to log in for her. They'll have incarceration packages.
Let me give you a few scenarios here. All right. One is include Twitter in this. Right. One is impersonation of a dead person. Right. Or someone who's.
For instance, if Twitter kills my account, there's nothing to stop somebody else from being Leo Laporte on Twitter.
Exactly. So that's the first problem.
So log in every 2 years.
Well, you're dead. No. You're dead. You can't.
I can't. I'm dead.
Well, then you're dead. Then you don't get your name. What if there's another Leo Laporte out there?
Now.
Too bad. I'm Leo Laporte. I'm the one.
There is a whole linkage to a Leo Laporte that says that's a Leo Laporte. That's Leo Laporte we know. And Leo, may rest in peace, was a wonderful guy, sometimes grumpy, but we liked to read what he had to say.
Sometimes.
And now along comes Jason Calacanis acting like he's Leo Laporte, which is probably what happened. And so there's impersonation publicly. That's one. Two, there's a business problem. I'll use my father because he never had a Google account. So DV Jarvis, may he rest in peace, is gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people know that because there's obits and stuff out there. And they know they can grab that email address that existed at Gmail, and then they can go around to banks and all kinds of places and say, oh, yeah, I'm DV Jarvis. Yeah, that's where the password recovery is at the account DV Jarvis at Gmail. Send it to DV Jarvis. Yeah. And you can recover all kinds of stuff from people who aren't going to know that they're dead or whatever. There's a business problem. And three is, you're right, Stacey, about the expense, but you have an obligation when you say we're going to be this repository of culture. Then you didn't make clear at the very beginning, well, but only for 2 years, and then it's gone. Then it's the problem of Google in general is what can you trust? Now, you're right that culture is not everything. Umberto Eco says that culture is what we choose not to forget. So I agree with that. But there was a compact that occurred in the early days of all of these platforms that said, blogger. I mean, you're going to be there forever. WordPress, YouTube. And
I guess that's the real question.
Leo's case,
is there an implicit promise of eternal representation on the net?
So
I don't think there is really. I mean,
there's not.
If you lose tech TV, what do we lose as a culture if people do want it, but there's no way to save it?
That's too bad. Life moves on. I'm serious.
I love this.
And the other thing to note is, if you see what's happening right now, Google announced this, and already they're like, not YouTube. If that's the case, they're renegotiating the compact. Look at it like if you say we had an implicit agreement back when the web was young. To me, this feels like, yeah, I mean, you all do stupid things when you're young, and maybe you promise something like you'll tell your brother, like, man, if you ever need a kidney, I'll give it to you, man, because I love you. And then maybe your brother like cheats on your wife or something, or cheats with your wife.
Where is this going, Stacy?
No,
So the
I
point is,
actually think Stacey's
you can't
right.
be held responsible.
I'm going to adjudicate
as
in your
life
favor.
changes.
Yes, I'm going to
you're
adjudicate in your
never
favor. And what happens in pre-internet world is if something is valued by the culture, like Shakespeare, the culture preserves it.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right, Stacey. Think of all of the things that we have lost. Now, would I have preferred that the Library of Alexandria did not get burned to the ground?
Yes. Yeah, we all probably would have.
So,
who knows what we lost there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what Jeff's saying is this is the Library of Alexandria, and Google's about to light the match.
Then I don't.
The truth is, the Library of Alexandria is that every, I forget how many years, papyrus would have disintegrated. So you would have had to put the investment into rewriting things and copying the scrolls. Otherwise, they would have
so it's
died
actually
their own
very
death.
analogous. That effort is analogous to the money that Google pays to keep the servers going.
This is mentioned
maybe
in the Gutenberg parentheses.
Is it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, one thing, though, that's kind of interesting lately, scientists, they've recovered a huge number of papyri from Pompeii after the eruption. You can't obviously unroll it. Scientists are using technology to scan these papyri and then using AI to reassemble the texts.
That was so Yale of him to use the plural of papyrus. I mean, we know this.
Papyri.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
What's the plural of Pompeii? So I thought that was kind of interesting. So you're right, Jeff. But I mean, there is a loss to the culture. Another
Tech
example
TV
that's
being gone is a shame.
Well, yeah, let's not use Tech TV because it isn't. Okay. But
I want to see my dev null.
I'll give you an example that's kind of related, which is video games.
Yeah.
These were artistic creations that, if can't really be played once the last N64 crumbles into dust.
Right.
And there is an effort to preserve these, sometimes an effort that is thwarted by the copyright holders of all things.
Yeah.
But I think we do want to preserve. We want to preserve even the fact that it's digital. If the Mona Lisa were a digital creation, we would want to have saved that, right? Just because it's oil doesn't make it somehow better than a digital creation. Yes.
So I think there are two things this is a good this good point in time to say, oh my God, the internet doesn't work quite like we thought, right? It's not this permanent record of infinite cheap access. So, and then also we have value. There's value in preserving this access that is protected under laws that really protected things that were physical and paper. So then two things we should take away. One, maybe we should create some sort of digital Library of Congress or funding for something that keeps
that
the
might
things
be the
in
right
the culture
answer.
that we.
Yeah.
And then two, what about our copyright laws? Let's say we want to put something in this library. Can we rework copyright? So
that's Google Books, right, Stacey? That's exactly the challenge that came with Google Books.
But that was physical books, but that's not video games, or that's not.
Bruce
photos.
That's what Bruce Kale is doing at the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
In fact, he's archiving those video games and creating emulators so that you can play them after the N64 is long gone. He did get in a little bit of trouble for that, didn't he? Of course, that was over lending those books, scanning books and lending them out.
You want to see an analog for this? If you go to ustc.ac.uk, this is the Universal Short Title Catalog. I'll repeat that. It's ustc.ac.uk. Andrew Pettigrew, who's a brilliant historian of books, established this, and it catalogs everything known that was printed, everything, whether it still exists or not, between Gutenberg and 1700. You search on something in the catalog. Right?
Wow.
And then if it exists in digital form, you can click on it and look at it. But even if it doesn't exist, the fact that it existed is interesting. And what Pettigrew says is that it's the things that we used most that we didn't value. It's the books that we didn't care about, that we left on the shelf, that nobody took out, that didn't get ruined. The things that we used every day and cared about and mattered in our lives got destroyed through use. So one of the weird things about this is the things that you can't find are the things that mattered most at the time.
And you have some standing because I know you're a professor of journalism, but really you're a historian at this point. And these original documents are the first draft of history. You need this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff. And you also look through, one of the things I love doing this, and I recommend this in the Gutenberg parenthesis, on sale soon, is that you look through and you see the progression of print, right? And in the 1400s, there were no indexes or title pages or page numbers and so on. And then you see it lost its color, it gained its standardization, the fonts changed. You see something that occurs. And there was little talk. Papyri also has a book out called The Library of Fragile History, where the aim wasn't to preserve. So what I want, Stacey, is just as we had ethicists before, I want librarians to be part of this discussion at Google.
Yeah, and I think librarians or museum curators, I mean, all of these, I've been to dozens of museum exhibits that are all digital. And so curators are already thinking about how to preserve things over time and as digital formats fail and protocols die and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I feel sad. I don't think this is Google's. It's totally right that Google said, oh, enough. I'm going to start deleting stuff.
It feels like
I think it's sad we'll lose stuff?
Ruth Porat got a hold of the bill for the server and said, well, wait a minute here.
But why would you trust a private, it's a public company with your cultural assets?
Your stuff. I'm not sure about the infrastructure side of it, but what about accounts that are used just for forwarding emails? I saw someone in our Discord talking about it. They had an old Google account that they would dump stuff in it to forward to their personal email based on some type of filter. Does that still
Patrick
count as
Delahanty's
alive?
dad, who was a federal prosecutor. I think he was Massachusetts. I don't know. Patrick, you'll have to fill me in. But he passed away a couple of years ago. Patrick says he's been keeping Maine U.S. Attorney. Thank you. He's been keeping his Gmail account alive for the last 2 years. That's historic.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not.
You're right.
But it's
You're
also
right,
an
Stacey.
email that a lot of people would want access to.
Right. The right thing
throw
to
that
do.
open.
The right thing to do would be to have some sort of, maybe Craig Newmark, instead of saving pigeons,
Pigeons of journalism. Gosh, man.
Could
This would be
save.
plenty expensive.
Yeah, no, but I think it's probably something a government should do. Libraries, it's amazing we have libraries. What a great contribution
They are magnificent.
to our public wheel libraries have been.
Thanks, Ben Franklin.
Thank you to all those
and
state
Carnegie.
and local governments and federal governments who finance this and taxpayers ultimately who finance this.
Until Florida kills them, but yes.
Yeah, but we decided that this was something important. And that's, I think, what we need to extend the concept of library to digital goods, I guess. I mean, we already have a structure for that.
Well, we as Stacey would say, we need a discussion. We need a discussion about what's important to save and what the ethic of saving is. What does it say to future historians, to our children?
Well, and this is problematic because
the longest discussion ever because no one's going to agree.
Yeah, if you were alive in the time of Shakespeare, would you say, oh no, that Christopher Marlowe, let's save all his stuff, but Shakespeare, he sucks.
And we don't know what we're
We
missing.
don't know.
That's the other thing.
We don't know what the good stuff is.
Shakespeare
Well,
could've
interestingly, Leo, about that, so it's now the 400th anniversary of the first folio of Shakespeare. And what happened was there were a bunch of really crappy editions of Shakespeare. There's a really funny speeches that were in awful printings of it. And it was after he died, it was friends of his from the stage who said, we must preserve the true Shakespeare. And that's why they printed the first folio.
Interesting. So there was
This too, in the Gutenberg parenthesis, on sale.
Yeah, they they curated it basically. And
yes. Yeah, well,
and Google's
But the point is
function too to fix the good stuff.
The point is contemporaneously people recognized his value. And that's probably why we have it today. But maybe there was also another guy.
Oh, there was.
That wasn't recognized. That might
Should have been.
Cervantes.
Cervantes wrote 40 plays. He considers himself first a playwright. And most of that is all lost.
We know him for Don
it's all
Quixote, but
it's sold.
We don't know where his plays are.
Plays didn't. Right.
All like those Euripidean plays, the plays by Euripides.
Just ask Leo. He'll know how to say it.
I believe it's pronounced papyri.
But yeah, there's tons of stuff we've lost. Like all of there are no intact Sappho poems out there, but we're all like, yeah, she was amazing, great poet.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. We talk about Sappho all the time. None of her poems survive.
We do.
Well, I do.
There's fragments of them. Okay.
No, I had no idea that the poetry does not survive. Fragments of.
It's fragments and things that other people have reported.
Exactly. Her reputation is from the other people talking about it.
Let me quote, if I may, from the bad quarto of Hamlet, the speech you all know. God. To be or not to be, there's the point. No, to sleep, to dream. I marry, there it goes. For in that dream of death, when we awake and born before an everlasting judge, from whence no passenger ever returned, the undiscovered country, at like, whose sight the happy smile and the accursed dance.
That's like some guy who went to the play, and then somebody said, "What did he say?"
Trying to
said,
regurgitate
it was something like this.
To be or not to be. That's the point I'm trying to make.
That's the point. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Yeah. It's very different. And it doesn't even mean the same thing, which is hysterical.
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
That's the point.
Well, maybe the guy who was playing Hamlet that time, he forgot his
Maybe he didn't know his lines.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great conversation. And maybe, I really think this is the kind of thing this Google announcement should stimulate, which is, okay, fine. You're right. It's not Google's job to maintain all this, but culturally we want to. What should we do? And I wish members of Congress would think about stuff like this.
They won't.
Yeah, they won't.
This is why you have a private sector, right?
I also want to give right credit to the quote I mentioned before. So it's Jean-Philippe de Tonac in a wonderful book said, "One thing is certain," he said, "what we call culture is in fact a lengthy process of selection and filtering. Now more than ever, we realize that culture is made up of what remains after everything else has been forgotten," which is a wonderful quote. So, but the choice of what to remember is ours.
What are we going to do?
Stop the conversation.
What are we going to do?
Oh, I should let you know, by the way, there are actual Sappho poems that exist in fullness, but not very many. Okay. And most of what we see are fragments.
I think that's not at all uncommon in the ancient world. That we don't know, like, well, Aristotle, right? We only know, or is it Socrates? One of them.
I know. It's always
How about the Bible?
Plato.
You want to use the Bible?
Well, the Bible we got, right? But
it's translations on scroll. I mean,
yeah.
Well, actually, finish making your point, and I'll see if that works.
Well, I think there's a lot of people of the ancient world that we only know of by reputation. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is far too much Google for a show called This Week in Google.
I know. We should talk about Twitter. Let's talk about Elon. Actually, I have other stories.
Good one.
I have other stories. There's breaking TikTok news. This just in, the governor of Montana has signed into law the TikTok ban.
And Express
now
is saying, woohoo.
Now we know. You can take your finger off the button, whoever's... I don't have any audio. There we go. Thank you. The ear people wanted me to hear. So Montana is now officially the first state to ban TikTok.
Why?
Governor Greg Gianforte signed the bill, Senate Bill 419, into law today. You have some time. It doesn't go into effect till January 1st. He signed the bill, he said, to, quote, protect Montana's person, private, and sensitive information.
Jesus.
From being gathered by China.
That's the
China.
Key. China. That's the key.
Chinese Communist Party using TikTok to spy on Americans, violate their privacy, and collect their personal, private, and sensitive information is well documented. Okay?
Sure.
I can't say that's not true. Today, Montana takes the most decisive action in any state to protect Montana's private data. I wonder how they plan to do this. That's the only thing I'm interested in. How do you implement that?
When do they reach out to the likes of Meta, Facebook, Instagram, what have you?
Well, that's another one.
About what they're collecting and sharing.
The Montana Department of Justice can fine any app store or ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, $10,000 for every violation and $10,000 a day for each day the violation continues. So I guess it's Apple and Google will have to drop TikTok from the App Store in Montana.
Right.
Hmm? So could you
10
download it on your phone if you left
cooks.
Montana and then when you came back, you could run it?
Yeah, because otherwise they'll have to go to every internet service provider, mobile phone carrier in Montana and say you need to block TikTok.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Again,
I mean, I understand their
VPNs.
concern. In fact, there was a recent TikTok story that implied TikTok was collecting more information than we had thought, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Or
too.
that the company had more access to it than we thought was kind of
Right.
more of the story.
And was happy to hand it over. So,
Sorry.
so I kind of understand. I'm kind of sympathetic. I would much prefer to see legislation against data brokers like Kochava, which just recently got away with tracking your location because a judge said, well, what's the harm in that?
So the FTC can come back and make a stronger case.
I hope they do.
It's unlikely to, but they
Yeah,
could.
the judge said you haven't proven harm.
Right. Substantial injury is what the judge said you haven't proven.
And if you come back to me and can show that, I'll reconsider. But yeah, we'll see.
So we need someone who gets arrested because they were near an abortion provider or a women's healthcare provider, and or someone who was beaten up by a stalker after their stalker purchased data from a data broker.
Now,
Great.
The Wall Street Journal says TikTok ban signed in Montana, paving the way for First Amendment legal battle. And I guess that's the question: is who sues?
Yeah.
Does TikTok sue?
I think TikTok has some creators to sue.
Creators would be the right one, right? Henry, if you want to sue Montana, I'll wear a hat and wave a flag.
Yeah, but that's the thing with
TikTok has the data on the biggest TikTok. The people from Montana who have the greatest TikTok following.
Oh,
those
yeah.
are the people. If you're TikTok, you reach out to.
yeah, you already got it.
That's good. Use that evil information
you already got it.
to protect yourself.
But would it matter if someone outside of Montana lobbies against this?
The governor was lobbying to broaden it, to your point, Ant, so that it would apply to all social media apps that provide data to foreign adversaries. I mean, you could.
Oh, you could Google the top TikTok influencers from Montana.
Oh, just Google it.
Google it.
You know, at Montana Tucker has 6.9 million followers.
Wow.
Whoa.
At Montana and Ryan. Oh, that's probably a lady.
But is Montana Tucker saying anything about this?
Oh, Montana Tucker might be a lady's name because do people named Montana exist?
Yeah.
Other than Hannah.
Oh,
Montana
she may not be
fans.
from Montana, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let me search.
But TikTok can tell you who those people are.
Yeah,
I
TikTok
guarantee it.
knows. Let's see. Here's Montana Tucker, singer, dancer, actress. I think that's her real name.
Yeah.
Montana Jordan, Montana Coles, French Montana. Oh, here's the Visit Montana account. It's got 100,000 followers. Guess you'd be shutting that down.
What's the great gifts there? That third one. I want to see what that looks like. That was really good.
Locally loved gifts in Montana. Let's turn on the sound and.
It's the perfect place for holiday shopping.
Gosh, I hate that voice.
Me too.
And fresh espresso.
Oh, it's a coffee.
They have lots of fun gifts for the whole family.
I'm not going to Montana. This is so boring.
Come with us to Great Gray Gifts.
Okay. Great Gray Gifts is not the most enticing of names. How about Huckleberry Bear Claws? You got to try those.
Oh.
They're from Polebridge Mercantile.
You had me at fried bread.
Famous for its Huckleberry Bear Claws. Sorry, Polebridge. No more promotion for you on the old TikTok.
They should sue.
I mean, yeah.
I want those. Oh, that looks very
Have you
good.
tried them?
That's
No.
like a gigantic rugula.
It's
It's an American-sized rugula.
Yeah, you figure like you New York types would call it a rugula. Yeah, this is kind of sad. I don't know what to make of this. My son, I'm going to have breakfast with him tomorrow. I'll ask him how he feels about it. But I don't think he's not focused anymore on TikTok, I don't think. I think Insta and other places.
In his book.
And his book. In fact, his latest is burnt potato chips. Seems like he's given up on the on the whole premise of cooking. Well, actually, little lobster. Little lobster. Oh, God. Henry.
Rule your son.
Henry.
Oh, is he making a lobster sandwich with kettle crisps?
Oh, see, yeah, he crisped an extra crispy. 3 sticks of butter.
Like
That's Henry right there. 3 sticks of butter with his lobster.
Yep, it is a lobster roll. That's what I had for Mother's Day.
I love lobster rolls. And you put little crunchy chips on
No,
there.
you need chives, not shallot, Henry. Bad. You lost me at shallots.
2.3 million followers on TikTok, all of whom. I wonder what percentage. It'd be funny to find out, like, well, how many Montana followers? Like, if you have 100,000, that's a loss.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll ask him how he feels. My guess is he's going to say, what do you mean? I don't care.
He's going to be like, what band?
Who cares? What band?
How many people live in Montana anyway?
Yeah.
Montana, popular. If it was California, maybe.
Probably more than
or Texas.
In Wyoming. Weird documentary.
Amazon in the morning.
1.1 million.
Okay. That's not insignificant. That's almost as
Twice as many as live in Wyoming.
Right.
Yeah. How many?
1.1 million as of 2021.
Yeah. Wyoming only has like 500,000.
Wyoming has
like 500,000 in
half
the
of
whole
that.
state.
Wow.
And 2 senators.
Wow. Amazon launched new devices this morning.
What?
Yeah, we don't care. They're silly.
Even Stacy does.
I thought you would. I put this in because I thought you would. Because
I thought it was Stacy bait.
It's Stacy bait. This Echo Pop for $40 is an Eero beacon as well as everything else. That's kind of cool.
I turned on the Eero beacon. I have been very dissatisfied. So Amazon has a service that lets you turn certain Echo devices. If you have Eero routers in your home, it adds that as another Eero router.
This is one of them. The new Echo Pop.
This could be one. I turned mine on. It is literally next door. Like I have an Eero right behind me.
Yeah.
And then I have an Echo next door. It never works. It's always like, I can't get a signal. This is frustrating. And I'm like, never mind, you suck.
That is disappointing.
Anyway, these are $40. It's cheaper. They're cute colors. If you want it, go ahead.
They just look like speakers. That's the funny thing. The dots were kind of ugly, looked like hockey pucks. These just look like little speakers, and they're pretty colors.
Well, the dot is now a sphere. It's a full-on sphere. It looks like a little...
I kind of like this form factor. Anyway, they snuck that out. Let's see. What else? Uber.
Google tablet docking station had that functionality, you'd be happier.
I would be if
yeah.
it had a speaker on it.
So Amazon can produce this Echo. It's probably, I don't know if it's a loss leader or just even.
$40
$40.
Yeah.
And Google's charging me $129 for what is essentially a speaker that only works if there's a tablet stuck on it. Thanks, Google.
Did you order one? I ordered one. $500, including the dock. We'll see. I'm getting mine. What is it? June? Is that when they come?
I didn't order it. I didn't care.
Yeah, I know. I have to. It's my job. June 21st.
When it comes to tablets,
A week after Father's Day.
When it comes to tablets, what's your use case? Are you a consumption person or productivity person?
So I have an iPad mini, which is a really good size, little 7 or 8 inches. That I keep next to on my bedside table. That's my reading.
Consumption. Okay.
So that's pure consumption. Although, sometimes I'll text, stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much pure consumption. And then I have an iPad Pro. And, down the road, that might end up being when you put Final Cut Studio on there and
Logic
they announced
Pro
that last
on there.
week, right?
Yeah.
That comes out May 23rd in about a week. That may end up being more of a productivity thing, but right now it's basically a FaceTime. I used to FaceTime my mom. I use it as a second screen with my Mac because you can move the mouse over. And so I'll have Discord running there or some other messaging client or whatever. And it's kind of there all the time in the background. It's really a subsidiary device. It's not a primary device. But that's just me.
Kevin Toffel works on his iPad Pro quite a bit.
Yeah, we have people come in and do the show. Harry McCracken's going to be on Twitter on Sunday.
Yeah, he normally brings his.
He'll bring an
that's
iPad.
right.
That's what he'll be on.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just as goofy as people who
With
only use
keyboard?
Chromebooks.
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know. At least the iPad has a decent CPU in it or chip. Whatever.
It does. It has an M1 or an M2.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty dang fancy. I did note that the HP, the pretty HP Chromebook is back in stock. I thought I mentioned this to you, Jeff.
So you think I should get it?
I think HP makes pretty nice ones. What was the name of it? Maybe it's not here.
It's the
Elite or
Elite HP Dragonfly.
Dragonfly. Yeah.
Fly Pro.
Yeah. Now the Dragonfly is beautiful. Paul Thurrott said on Windows Weekly he doesn't recommend it for Windows. It's a little underpowered, but I think it'd be fine for a Chromebook. I mean, it's a really. Let me see if I can find the Chromebook version. It's a really slim and beautiful.
You got to say Chromebook. You got to type in Chromebook.
Oh, you can type in Chromebook.
You got to search for Chromebook.
Search for Chromebook, Dragonfly Chromebook, Papyri. There it is. Yeah, limited stock. Hurry, last few remaining. Yeah, I think these are pretty. Look at the price though, $1,000 for a Chromebook.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah.
And the battery is not perfect.
Yeah, maybe not.
Though the original reports were wrong. Kevin was very good about that. He really.
What is he like these days for a Chromebook?
Oh, if you wait like 20 seconds, he's going to tell you. But he does say, Jeff, that he has a review of the HP Pro Chromebook.
Yeah, I read it a few weeks ago. Yep. I hang on. Kevin,
he's
hang
typing
on
right now.
every review. Believe me.
We're about.
I check
we're
you
about to
every
find
week, and I also support. I haven't. Does it renew automatically by support of Kevin, or do I have to do it?
Ben Schoon, writing 2 days ago in 9 to 5 Google, said the Dragonfly Pro is the best of ChromeOS. The best. So it's a flagship, but it's flagship priced. That's the.
My current my
He's been on the
Pixelbook
network a few times.
Ben Schoon?
Mm-hmm. Schoon.
Ben
Schoon.
I think it's Schoon. I hate to tell you, Ben.
I think it's Papyri.
If he knows how to say papyri.
You don't sail around in a schooner.
Then again, maybe I'm wrong, but I know he's been on the network a few times.
I pronounce it as the original Dutch
pronunciation.
pronunciation.
I stand corrected, sir.
Yes.
Okay, Kevin has told me he likes his Spin 714 and
He's still with the
$549
Acer
on sale.
He's still with the Acer
But
Spin.
He's a loyal man.
But for $1,000, the HP Dragonfly Pro is nicer. He didn't want to spend the money. Jeff would like the HP.
Yes, because Jeff has loaded. 14-inch. We know journalism professors are very well paid. That's why. That's why they get the houndstooth.
So much money.
Houndstooth jackets. The 14-inch.
I always wear black, cheap Uniqlo black T-shirts. That's all I have.
That's why his dinner is frozen food from Trader Joe's.
The 14-inch 2560 by. Did I tell you I had Cacio e Pepe in Rome? I did.
You did.
It's quite good. The 14-inch 20.
So TikTok now knows that I like Cacio e Pepe.
Yeah.
So they're showing me Cacio e Pepe recipes constantly, maybe trying to get me off.
There's no recipe. It's spaghetti and pepper.
Noodles, cheese, and pepper.
Leo, go down to
That's the recipe.
lines.
Noodles, cheese, and pepper.
Noodle, cheese, and pepper.
Lines 160 and 161.
Good job.
160,
That's
161.
You could do. You too could be a TikTok
on
star.
Cacio.
160. Good Lord. There's something at line 160. Oh, this was going to be your pick.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I give it a away.
Here we go. When your Italian husband finds an authentic pasta dish here in America.
Are you crying? No, I'm not crying, but I want to cry. That's the cacio e pepe.
He's crying.
Fantastico.
He's actually crying.
Grazie. That's the real cacio e pepe.
Vero cacio e pepe. All it is
Italy.
is noodles,
Noodles, cheese,
and pepper. It's in the name. Okay.
But the next guy does a whole complicated thing.
I'm sorry, Italians. Please don't get upset with me.
I went to
It's delicious, though.
a wonderful, like 200-year-old restaurant, famous in Rome for its cacio e pepe and its carbonara. And the makers, the noodle makers, sit in the window rolling out their noodles. It was
buttered.
So good.
While that's going,
yeah, he's
grate our
making
cheese.
great cheese
and Parmesan.
Pecorino.
We're gonna put this stuff
Parmesan.
in the jar of our blender.
Romano.
Yeah, this is this is
Got
not
our butter nice
what you
and
do.
foamy here.
Foamy butter.
Peppercorns
Okay.
to
You
it.
didn't mention foamy butter.
Now, toss
Oh,
butter. And
butter.
You don't see
Peppercorns.
blenders in cacio e pepe recipes.
Noodles.
Blender's running. I'm
Uh-oh.
gonna slowly
Stream a little pasta cooking water.
Oh,
That's so you get a nice thick of sauce.
That's the science
that's
part of it.
And now we have a Karima sauce.
Dreamy sauce. Between the pasta water, the
So what
starch,
was in
the
there?
blender,
Let's
it
just review.
created a near unbreakable.
Noodles.
Maybe a little bit more cheese grated
Cheese.
over the top. Grating
And pepper.
And pepper.
He added a little butter.
Butter.
Oh, he had a little butter.
But
Keep
yeah,
it from sticking.
butter is understood.
That's just to keep it from sticking.
Butter's always in there. Nothing you could do. It's either butter or olive
So
oil.
old,
You don't
I
have a
forget
choice.
what Leo was going to talk about. Where were you back up the
You think I remember? We were talking about dragonflies.
What was it?
Oh, and it's-
14-inch,
Well, that was for
2560 by
me, too,
1600 IPS touchscreen.
And it's been shown.
1,200
We've been
nits.
corrected, by the way.
What?
It's been shown.
It's been shown.
shown.
It is shown.
Mhm.
Shown.
Oh, shown.
As
really wrong.
Mr. Howell has corrected
That's
us.
completely wrong.
It's shown.
There's two O's. There's no way that's shown. Shown is SCHOEN. That's not
Shown.
shown. That's schoon.
SHO.
And you're Leo, for God's
shown.
sake.
I thought you were Leo.
1,200 nits is very bright. That's good. This looks like a nice laptop.
Nice machine.
And it's got an i3 or an i5 in it. It's very heavy duty. It's using the same delightful deck, says Ben. Shown, as was on the Elite Dragonfly, if that's his real name. He liked it. So this is what you'd get on the Windows machine.
What do you think about a haptic instead of a real click mouse pad?
That's fine. If it's done right, which Apple does, by the way, you wouldn't know the difference.
All right.
Okay.
You would absolutely not know the difference if it's done right. And HP's going to do it right. It's got a fingerprint sensor. That's nice. Well,
microphone on my current machine broke. So
it's hard to justify $1,000 for a Chromebook unless that's your main machine.
I live with it all the time.
For ChromeOS, just get an Acer. Don't spend $1,000 for ChromeOS. Sir.
What was it I got that I hated?
Don't.
Well, you can spend
Kevin
$1,000
says it's
for the
done
spin.
right.
Pardon me? He says it's
Kevin
what?
says it's done right.
It's
You
done.
should spend
It's done right.
$1,000.
Kevin's the expert. I check in on Kevin every week. Believe me.
Are you in the mood for a new one? Are you ready for a new one? You said
my microphone's broken. Which some people would celebrate that I'm silenced. But.
Well, you could use the microphone in front of you right now instead. So here's
the haptic trackpad is done right. I'm sorry.
It is done right. Oh, good. So this is an i5, 16 gigs of RAM, 256 SSD. All of this overkill for a Chromebook, but that's exactly what Google would offer you if they had a Pixelbook. It'd be this price, $1,000. This is I wouldn't buy it because it's a Chromebook. But if you only use Chromebooks, absolutely, they'd get it.
How many years now I've been doing this? It's amazing.
Yeah.
When did they come out? Jesus.
Oh, I don't know. It's been at least 8 years.
Yeah, I've been pure Chromebook that long.
Good man. I admire your tenacity.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Show, you know.
Stubborn.
Uber had an announcement too. They had their new what do they call it? They have a cutesy name for their Uber thing. Let me see. Here's the TechCrunch story. Uber's annual Go Get event. That's what it's called.
Geez.
The Go Get event.
Who knew they had an event?
We didn't.
I had no idea.
Otherwise, we would have covered it.
Everyone has an event.
It was today. Slew of new products and features aimed at attracting a new set of customers from teens as young as 13. You can now. So this was always an issue for us because we wanted our kid to take Uber. He would take the train down to his high school and then take the last mile. We wanted him to call an Uber, and we always had to lie because he wasn't 18 yet. They wouldn't pick him up otherwise, and it was unreasonable. I think
He's a tall guy, so he could get away with it. Right?
He could get away with it. That's right.
They never asked Hardhead.
They never asked.
They never asked
because he's
Hardhead.
also tall and
because I've
good-looking.
done it a couple times.
Yeah,
and it's like he looks. Older
it seems appropriate. By the way, Chromebooks are 12 years old. Says mashed potatoes. 12 years old.
I'm sorry. Probably.
You have the mouth of a 12-year-old.
The mouth of a journalistic professor.
Stacy said it earlier. I heard Stacy say it.
It is true.
You should have heard.
I'm still sad about
You should have heard Amy Webb, who, by the way, says you hate her. And
no, I don't. She keeps saying that. That's the only thing I hate is that she says that.
Yeah.
She and Phil Libet and they were swearing up a storm.
Yes, it was so funny.
We were talking about AI, and it was like blah, 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 blah. So we had to bleep it. So if you listen to Twit on Sunday,
it was so funny.
But at one point, I think it was Benito said, "Don't worry, swear all you want. We have AI," and the AI was just. So Uber now, if you sign up for a family account, you can have your teenager age 13 to 17 request rides. But here's the biggest thing: Uber is adding a phone number. If you want to use Uber, but quote aren't as familiar with navigating a smartphone, you can call 1-833-USE-UBER.
Grandma, it's for grandma.
It's not just grandma. You know what? So it's not just grandma. We've had people. I've had people ask me, "Can you call me an Uber?" Because I don't have an Uber account or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if you don't want to download the app? Or I mean, that's not an. And some people don't want. I mean, giving Uber access to as much as they want on your phone. That's right. A commitment.
Well, I didn't know. I went to this Grammarly event last night. Grammarly is a sponsor. It was a very interesting event. It was fascinating. I think it was in Brooklyn, and it was far away from the subway. So they offered people Lyft.
That's another thing.
I'd never done that before, and it worked really well.
That's another thing Uber's allowing. You can buy an Uber. You could always buy a prepaid Uber ride card, but now you can say when it should be delivered.
That's cool.
So you could say, "Oh, Jeff, I know you're coming to our conference on the 11th. Here's your car will arrive on the 11th." That kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
And with the Lyft, it also said it has to go here.
Yes.
Which is
fun. No, that's right.
They've had things where actually I think it was on Lyft, not Uber, because I know I've had credit codes that they give you. Like here's a credit code to get to the airport.
We've done that. We used to do ads for Uber that would advertise that as a feature that you could set people up with Uber rides as part. You had to have a business account, I think it was. Company did actually, interestingly, not that I would have predicted this, Uber's first quarter earnings beat forecasts across the board.
Did
they actually make money though?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another question.
Cares?
Uber's gross bookings rose 19%, $31 billion in the first quarter. Revenue up 30%.
Okay, but did they profit?
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure not. Have they ever turned a profit ever?
No.
Uber Eats has been very successful. All right, let's see. Revenue $8.82 billion. GAAP loss.
Nope.
Narrower than expected. Adjusted profits. EBITDA $761 million EBITDA. That's profit.
No. Is it in parentheses? Because if it's in parentheses, it's a loss.
That's negative, yeah. It's negative.
No.
Is it in parentheses?
His adjusted profits came in better than the street reckoned, $761 million
It's
in
a
adjusted
parenthetical
EBITDA
statement, not a negative
compared to the estimate. Shares of the company spiked. So did I guess part of this is Uber and Lyft did not do well in the pandemic, right? Nobody went anywhere.
No. And
people
then
ordered
there was the
food.
mask mandates and stuff too.
But yeah, Uber Eats has really helped propel Uber's earnings.
Did they do any did they do any sort of reorganizing of their statements? EBITDA is a fuzzy number in the sense that you can do a lot to EBITDA to make it look nice.
Earnings before income tax
and
depreciation
depreciation
adjustments or something.
Now they don't have a lot of assets to depreciate.
Right, because they don't own the cars.
This is the poor drivers who.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, I don't know. Don't they have a program where you kind of rent the car from Uber? Would Uber not then have title to it? I think they might.
Like a taxi,
right.
like a taxi cab.
Anyway.
Uber announced results. Let me just see here. This was in February. They announced the results. Gross bookings, revenue, net income attributable to Uber Technologies, $595 million. That's a $756 million net benefit pre-tax, primarily due to net unrealized gains related to the reevaluation of Uber's equity investments. So, not from the operating of the business. EBITDA of $665 million. That's up $579 million year over year. I guess they're profitable.
EBITDA or EBITDA?
I've heard EBITDA. EBITDA.
I say EBITDA. And when you're on earnings calls,
just because you got Pompeii.
What did I say?
Abita.
Abita.
Just because you get
like
papyrus.
Like the wife of the Chilean dictator or Argentinian dictator.
Don't cry for me, Beta. You know I never loved you.
The truth is I never loved you.
I don't know the song, and it's named not
You're
Ibita. It's
pulling
Evita.
a bad quattro there.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Here's some parentheses. Oh, but this was 2021. So no, they've been profitable since last year. That's really interesting. It's not what I would have thought.
I didn't know that either.
We all assumed that they're not making money.
Why did we not know that? Yeah.
I don't believe you. Hold on.
We have a picture of an Uber driver counting the bills as he drives you to wherever you're going. Thank you to our Discord. We love our Discord, by the way.
Nicely done.
We love our Discord.
If you are not yet a Club Twit member, you can improve our Ibita.
Please and thank you.
Like from negative numbers, perhaps to positive numbers, by paying $7 a month. It really does help us. It seems like not much, and we give you, I think, a nice value for your money. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get shows we don't put out in public on the Twit Plus feed, like Hands on Macintosh with Micah Sargent, Hands on Windows with Paul Thurrott, the new Home Theater Geeks, Scott Wilkinson. By the way, you'll love our community manager. He's a good-looking, fancy fella named Ant Pruitt.
Not sure about fancy, but he's good-looking, yes.
Fancy fella. And Ant's been putting together some great events in our Discord, including Stacy's Book Club, which is coming up next month, The Terraformers, Annalee Newitz's new book. Plus, you get access to the Discourse. That's where all those events happen. I think it's a really good deal for $7 a month.
Yep. It is indeed.
Twit.tv/clubtwit. There are individual plans. There's family plans. That's something new, and corporate plans as well. And we like to promote it because I really think it's important for our long-term survival.
And it's a friendly bunch who say, come on in.
Come on in, says Wayne Brady. Come on in. Okay, what else? Is it a democracy?
Okay, Uber lost money.
What are your sources?
I'm looking at their financials for last quarter, which were issued on their website on May 2nd, 2023.
Ruh-roh.
And if you look at their net loss, it was $157 million.
Well, that's getting there.
Now, their EBITDA was positive, but, and I would have to go look at the actual 10Q.
EBITDA,
no, that's not confusing. That's how accountants get you.
Yeah.
It's because you don't look at what you're supposed
taxes.
to always.
Yeah.
Because remember, they've lost so much money for so long, they can actually fudge the numbers and be like, oh, we're not paying anything. Anyway, sorry.
Net cash.
I felt...
$606 million free cash. So they lost. Yeah, I see this net loss attributable to Uber Technologies, $157 million.
Now, that's much less though than the same period a year ago when they lost $5.9 billion.
Whoa,
grief!
Whoa.
So doing a lot better, but they still reported a net loss, and their revenue is up considerably.
That's impressive, though.
And their EBITDA is up 353%, which is a little suspicious.
How's Lyft doing?
Lyft just laid off a ton of people. I don't know if Lyft's doing all that well.
Are you going to make me look up Lyft's financials?
Yes, please.
Thanks.
What's the stock?
You care about the facts, Stacey. You're just trying to keep us on the facts. No fun.
I trained originally as a financial reporter.
I know. That's why we're making you do this.
Like none of this EBITDA nonsense.
Uber,
these are their
I actually
annual.
use Lyft. I don't use Uber.
Revenue $1 billion, net income minus $187 million.
So they also improved over
results.
Wall Street's expectations. So that's good. Both of the ride-sharing companies are doing all right.
I was in one last night from this Grammarly event. Grammarly's a sponsor. And the driver, I dropped off my friend Jay Rosen, then we rode uptown and started talking to the driver. My friend Jay Rosen from New York University. Yeah, I have friends.
Lyft has also reported a loss.
Yeah.
Their loss was 187.
Similar, very similar, isn't
million.
it? Yeah.
So
So the driver speaks Spanish. He's born elsewhere. He not only speaks
This, by the way, I just want to say that one of my favorite kind of stories and anecdotes is Lyft or Uber driver stories.
Yeah.
Right. But he spent 10 years studying chemistry in China.
Wow.
They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter takes a lot of Uber and Lyft rides, and I hear a lot of stories about drivers because she gets in a conversation with every one of them.
She could be
You
Tom
should,
Friedman.
as a journalist, Jeff is doing the right thing.
Oh, yeah.
You always talk to
stories. Human stories are fascinating. The other shoe dropped. Vice has filed for bankruptcy after 29 years. It's Chapter 11, though, right? That's reorganization.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're having they've got a presumptive sale to the lenders, including Soros.
Soros, Fortress Investment Group, Soros Fund Management, and Monroe Capital will buy the company, which was high flying at $5.7 billion just 6 years ago, for $225 million.
That's amazing.
About 4% of their peak valuation, unless they can find a higher bidder. But I'm thinking that's probably not going to happen.
Does this say Vice was overvalued back then?
I think it's really a comment. Maybe not.
Journalistic.
It's a comment on the failure of online journalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no.
I think it's a comment on stupid investors.
Yeah.
What were they laundering? Sorry.
Oh.
No, you're right. I also think my argument is, and I was on CBC talking about just this, that it's the last gasp of old mass media seeking traffic for traffic's sake. And they had new ways to do it, but they had new competitors who came in, and there was no barrier to entry, and they weren't that cool after all. So I don't think we've invented what follows.
Did you have you finished Ben Smith's book now, Traffic?
Oh yeah, I wrote about it on Medium.
You like it?
The top post on Medium. Yes, I do. I think it's very well written. It's quite interesting. And comparing Nick Denton's Gawker, who I was a friend of Nick's and was around much of that, with BuzzFeed is really interesting. And Ben's book is really good. He goes on about this quest for traffic, realizing in the end the traffic was a commodity. And what I didn't include in my write-up on Medium was an interesting chapter he had on Jezebel, and how, in his view, Jezebel was really the preamble to so much.
Jezebel was a print magazine, though. Yes?
No.
It was not. It was a website.
Jezebel was a feminist blog that was owned by Gawker. It used to be awesome. Now it sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've seen it's been up and down. It's been difficult. I mean, podcasting is kind of struggling too.
Yep.
It's just been difficult.
What I didn't know is MTV News is dead.
They just fired 25 staffers.
Yeah.
Another end of the line. Although, was MTV News on MTV or was it just web only?
I didn't even know it existed.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought MTV was just reality shows now, and not even music.
Yeah.
That's true.
A lot of people are trying a lot of different things in the internet era to make news work, or not just news, kind of informative content. Is that fair? Because I think we're not exactly a news podcast, but
No, because then you would want to be right about things like net losses.
Oh, zing.
I said what I said, man.
We were right. My goal is to be right eventually. I don't expect to be right all the time. I like to be right eventually.
Eventually, at some point.
And thanks to Stacy, I think we do pretty well there.
Yes.
I was going to say eventually.
Keeping us honest. She keeps us honest.
Might turn a profit.
Keeping us honest.
Okay. I'm actually, this is a sad story, and I meant to talk about it last week, and I forgot. But I'm sure, Jeff, you have something to say about Deuce. I followed her. Yes. I loved her blog. She was the first mommy blogger, but that's really diminishing to call her a mommy.
Not at all.
blogger.
No, I don't think it diminishes her in the least, because I think there were the stages of bloggers. There were tech bloggers, there were political bloggers, war bloggers, as we were called. I was one of those, and then came mommy bloggers, women bloggers, and Deuce was really a leader of that with a unique voice. She got fired for her blogging, so that became a verb. If you got fired for your blogging, you've been deuced. She was amazing. She had a lot of trouble in life, a lot of anxiety, a lot of difficulty. And in the end, it defeated her really tragically. She also kind of went off the rails in other ways, but we got to give her credit for what she built. And I think if there was a lot of talk about Jezebel in the Ben Smith book, but Deuce was far before Jezebel. And really
she started blogging in 97.
So, Stacey,
Actually, the Deuce blog started in 2001. She was what I liked, I didn't care about the subject matter. She was a great writer.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was like Jenny Lawson.
And she wrote about her life in a genuine, authentic, real way, which in the early days of the internet was so refreshing.
Yeah.
Because
oversharing in some.
Yeah, but we were so used to this kind of polished presentation of mainstream media, and it was really refreshing to see people authentically.
Now we're tired of that.
Yeah, maybe now we want to go back to polish. I don't know.
Influencers.
Yeah, but see, that's polished again, right?
What is?
Influencers. The stuff that's big now in social is all YOLO. You don't see their real life. You don't see the end.
Well, you can.
They simulate it. I'll say they simulate
to that. Yeah.
They try to make it look real.
Yeah, but it isn't. And that's even worse because people go, oh, I can't live up to that.
Right.
And then it's you feel bad.
Heather's life was all too real.
Heather, you never read her stuff and said, gosh, her life is better than mine. It's quite the opposite often.
You said, I'm not alone.
I'm saying that's what you said. I'm not alone. Yeah. I'm not the only one who feels this way. 8.5 million readers a month at the peak.
Which is a time of a much smaller internet.
Oh, that was at the time that was huge.
Did she take her life?
People didn't go on the internet too.
No.
She did.
Yeah. And of course, as we probably should always say when we talk about such things, is
what is the new number?
Yeah, there's a new number. If you feel like you are, worried about yourself or you need help,
988.
There's somebody to help, and it is now 988, which is great. The suicide and crisis lifeline. There's somebody there who cares, you can talk to, and I wish she had.
Yeah,
I really wish she had because that's a huge loss. She was great. She was a precious voice. Yep. And I meant to bring this up last week, and I spaced it out. But there was a very
it's all those early days of blogging. I interviewed Dave Weiner a week ago, and we were reminiscing, which is the point of the interview for my book. About the blogger cons. This was pre-Mummy bloggers and pre-Deuce. This is back in the tech and political days. But it was a wonderful time. It was amazing.
It was.
We disagreed with each other, and we talked with each other, and we got along. And
I would say
what happened?
Some of the same thing for early days of podcasting in the mid 2000s. There was really...
Leo, podcasting has only been big in the last 2 years, don't you know?
Well, but the same thing happened to podcasting that happened to blogging, which is... The big publishers came in and said, okay, we'll take it from here.
And then they got bored with it.
Yeah, and then they're bored, right? For a while, they thought, we've got the formula. It's true crime. And every podcast was true crime. I thought we should launch a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
If we really wanted to sell, we should have at least 2 or 3 true crime podcasts.
True crime and a companion podcast based on whatever the hot show is of the month.
The Game of Thrones Succession companion podcast.
2006.
I actually think that would do well on your social thing. Pick a show and just get someone to talk about it each week.
We tried that. We've tried all of the obvious things except true crime. I just never could bring myself to do scripted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But and those are scripted. You have to have writers and all that. But nobody wanted anything from us but tech news and information. Help and how to. That was really what our...
That's because you're not as cool as
Well, you are the tech guy.
And well-rounded.
Did I do something to hurt you recently?
Over the years? Yes.
Yes.
Today or...
He hangs his head.
I don't have my Punch Leo button, so now I'm just going for the verbal jabs.
You really don't need it. You're
hitting me. A psychic button.
Yeah, you're hitting me where it counts. Right up here. Right in the old noggin. Microsoft, this is weird, has inked a deal to use fusion energy by 2028. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Stacey.
You did talk about this last
week. Never mind.
Yeah, you brought that up.
I'll correct you right now.
Screw it. Forget I mentioned it. Are you worried about lithium battery fires on airplanes?
Why
Maybe?
Suddenly is this happening?
Yeah, really.
It's been happening.
Apparently, we didn't even know about it. Well, so I guess CBS did an investigation, and they found out that there is, on average, an incident every week on an airplane due to a lithium-ion battery either catching fire or exploding. And it's problematic. Now, we talked about this on Ask the Tech Guys on Sunday, and the guy who does the Airplane Geek podcast called in. He's a airplane aficionado.
Oh, Maine Man Micah?
Yeah, Micah from Maine. Maine Man Micah. He said all commercial flights now have bags for lithium-ion fires that are self-extinguishing bags.
I was going to ask.
So that's the good news, is they are at least prepared for this. And it's maybe why we haven't heard any really terrible
This is why you don't put them in your luggage, too. Right?
According to the other thing I learned is there is something in the Department of Transportation called the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Administration, or PHMSA.
Say it again.
PHMSA.
And he knows how to pronounce things, so we know that's the right way.
According to PHMSA, from March 2018 through March 2023, 5 years, there were 5.3 incidents on 5,319 incidents on all airplanes in the United States, 700 of them on passenger planes. That averages to be one hazmat incident on a passenger plane every 2.5 days. Yikes.
And it's probably actually greater because, remember, so many flights were canceled during COVID, and that was right smack in the middle of that data set.
A lot of these are not your laptop or your smartphone. A lot of them are, in fact, it seems
probably like e-cigarette things.
It's e-cigs. It's the cheesy, cheap e-cigs that you buy.
Well, and they stopped letting you check all of your luggage with the batteries and bringing your luggage with the batteries in.
Well, that was the stupidest thing, was the batteries built into the luggage. That was just so dumb.
Yeah. Well, I remember when that law changed because I had checked a ton of stuff with batteries and I got pulled out of the airplane.
Yeah.
They actually came and got me and they said, you need to take all of the batteries out of this. I said, what do you mean? They said, you can't put
you had about 47 of them, right?
I carry so many lithium-ion batteries.
Everything.
Laptop, iPad, cameras, drones, microphones, Insta360 cameras, probably a dozen lithium-ion batteries on every trip. There are companies working on batteries that won't burn. That's one solution, right? But the other one is to have airplanes prepared and personnel trained when things start smoking. And do not put batteries in the checked luggage because you can't tell it's smoking.
Right.
And keep an eye on your stuff. And if you see smoke coming out of the overhead bin, immediately notify the flight
Let someone know. Don't be a hero.
Yeah.
The staff and team, they're trained on that stuff.
The good news is, as far as I know, no planes have gone down because of this. But it's certainly scary.
Can you don't use water to put out a lithium-ion battery. It's chemical expulsion, right? It's like a grease fire.
Yeah. Though, so these bags, you can see one right here, these aviation sacks, I think they do have water in them, but that's mostly to hold the smoke and stuff inside, right?
Yeah.
Because, the problem is the lithium ion, that's Pete Buttigieg, our Department of Transportation Secretary. The problem is, so these are the bags, they put them in. The problem is that the oxygen that supports combustion is in the battery. So you can't smother it.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah. So it's a self-feeding fire. And that's why they're difficult. We've heard for years about problems at recycling. Pretty much every recycling plant ends up having a lithium-ion battery fire at some point. They get punctured, and once they're punctured, exposed to air, they burn.
Cities are having this issue with like the electric scooters. A lot of them are randomly catching on fire in
they're
cities
all
as
over.
well.
They're littering.
Yeah.
They're cheap, crappy things too.
It was a very bad. Now you're going to have to look at the balance sheet, Stacey, and verify this number. But according to Variety, cord cutting hit an all-time high January through March 2023. U.S. pay TV subscriptions fell to their lowest level since 1992. 2.3 million customers turned away from cable, satellite, and internet TV providers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I get it's Bruce Leichtman's data, right?
I don't know whose data it is.
And internet?
I get his. So Bruce Leichtman does. It's Leichtman Research Group, and he's been calculating this stuff for the last 20 years.
Well, this one is a report from Craig Moffett of SVB Moffett Nathanson. In any event, they all agree because, as Craig said, we're watching the sun begin to set on the pay TV business. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people, right?
Wonder how this is going to show up in the negotiations with the Writers Guild and on. I wonder if those numbers are coming up in their negotiations.
Oh, I don't know. That's an interesting, because where are people going? They're going to streaming, right? I don't know why I'm pointing at you. Because your shirt says IT Pro TV and Chill.
IT Pro and Chill.
No, the reason they say internet is because of the streamers like YouTube TV and Hulu. They're also.
I thought that was the alternative. I thought some people were going.
No, the alternative is Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, not Hulu streaming.
No bundle.
Yeah, no bundle.
Hold on. So I'm just looking at fact check. I'm sorry.
No, don't.
Actually, I'm not sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Don't be.
So the pay TV providers. This is Leichtman's research. So Moffett is a Wall Street analyst.
It says according to Moffat's calculations in here in this Variety article.
So what?
Calculations.
I know. In Moffat's calculations and Leichtman's calculations are both based on the financial reports issued every quarter by the big cable company. So it's roughly the same numbers.
Okay.
Sorry. So I'm just seeing because Leichtman also pulls out other like Dish TV and other things like over the top things like YouTube TV. So those guys, they actually also lost. So the bundle guys like Sling, Hulu, Plus Live TV, YouTube TV, and Fubo also lost 394 subscribers this quarter. So everybody's losing things because of. So it's not just the cable guys, which everyone is cutting the cord, but it's also probably an economic issue too, because people are.
All right.
So Comcast, the largest pay TV provider in the country, dropped 614,000 customers in the first 3 months of the year.
Ooh-wee.
That's not insignificant. YouTube TV was the only provider tracked by Moffett Nathanson that picked up subs. They added 300,000 subscribers. In fact, at this point, it looks like YouTube TV is going to be the winner in terms of internet TV, live TV.
They are the top one with 5.7 million subscribers.
The UI is good.
It says 6.3 million here, but that's anyway. They netted over the past year 1.4 million subscribers. Hulu has barely grown. In fact, they lost 100,000 subs in Q1.
ABC is about to buy the rest of it. Disney's about to buy the rest of it.
Yeah, Disney, ABC, Comcast is getting out of it, basically. Yeah. Comcast owns a quarter of it. Disney has the right to buy it off of them. They're talking right now. Comcast is happy to give it to them. And Disney has said that we'll just roll it into Disney Plus. It'll all be one streaming thing.
Yeah, because once they launched Peacock, it really made no sense for them to have Hulu.
Right. Fubo TV lost 160,000 subscribers. Its worst quarterly loss in record. So it's a big change in the way TV works. The pay TV
When did y'all cut the cord?
I still have the cord. I am corded.
I can't remember. It's been a long time. Long time.
I think I did it in 2010.
We're old. I still have.
And the thing is,
lots of cords.
Gosh, he's got a corded phone. Hey, it's like Battlestar Galactica. If ever the Cylons come, we know Jeff will still be able to place a call to Pizza Hut.
I would temporarily cut the cord. I guess I should correct myself because I would get back on cable for football season and then call and yell at the cable company.
You don't need to anymore. You're going to
turn it off.
Get YouTube TV and get Sunday Ticket.
Oh, yeah. Nah, that's what I've
$250 for Sunday Ticket for the new
I'm not
season.
doing that.
That's a lot.
That's stupid.
Anyway, according to Nathanson, I'm sure your guy has other numbers, but Nathanson, Moffett Nathanson says the pay TV floor, the bottom, the subscribers who will never quit, 50 to 60 million U.S. homes, which is still, okay.
A lot of folks.
So they still have, there's still 73, so the big cable providers that we're thinking of, not the virtual MPV, the virtual internet guys, that's 73 points, roughly 7 million left. So we can still see 20 million drop.
Yikes. U.S. As of the end of Q1, U.S. pay TV services has 75.5 million customers, down 7% year over year. And everybody agrees that number is going to get bigger and bigger as more and more people leave. I still have cable. I have YouTube TV. I subscribe to Hulu and
all the extras. You get all the extras.
I got more money than sense, and I want to watch everything, and I don't want to.
I'm going to give you some sense for some of your money.
I don't want to be told I can't watch something I want to watch, so I just watch it. Damn it! I think it's a bit of a thing, but I think we are. Lisa and I are going back and forth. That we're probably going to turn off the cable subscription. YouTube TV scratches all of our itches.
It gets it done.
It's gotten more expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's a cable bill.
So cable saw this coming. I think I wrote this like in 2012 or 2010. Cable was like, oh, crikey, everyone's getting rid of their landlines, except for Jeff. Everyone's getting rid of the triple play. Remember how we used to talk about the triple play? And your bill for all of those was roughly $150 a month. And now if you look at your broadband bill, a lot of people are paying over roughly that amount.
Yep.
So that's all this. It's just happened gradually. The price didn't change. The mix of what you were paying for did.
But the other big thing that has happened here, it is, and I write about this basically in every book I do now, is it's the death of mass. That the huge audience that existed goes away. Broadcast, linear TV is long dead. AM radio is about to die as cars get rid of it.
Yeah.
Mass is what goes away. And you have a lot of niches, and I think that's more natural state for media. It was a temporary
that's
thing.
what we are, right? We've been a niche player since 2005. Very happy
niche
in there.
Niche.
It's not huge. It's not 100 million people watching, but
you don't want it to be.
But it's loyal.
I don't want it to be,
Loyalty.
actually. I don't want it to be. I like having a kind of qualified small audience.
We love you all. Everyone who's watching, we love you.
Yeah.
We love you.
Well, I figure if they're watching us, they're interested enough to watch us. I think that's good. That's what
if you're listening later, we also love you too.
We especially love the ones who make it all the way through. We are amazed and happy.
Our completion rate is about 80%.
You're kidding me.
No.
That's freaking
Oh, that's
awesome.
great.
That's freaking awesome.
Wow.
That makes
Pretty
sense.
high.
Maybe it's tech people because the completion rate on my show is about 80% too. And I'm like, dang,
You're
you guys
not
are.
wrong.
I think, you know what the difference is? Yours more than ours, but people are listening for information, right? And so they're gonna keep listening to the whole show. It's not entertainment where you turn it off when you're done washing the dishes and you go to the next thing. They're listening for content, and I do prefer that. I think we're a little less that than you. That number would make sense because we don't have much content. It's mostly just our personalities.
You're a hell of a lot longer.
And we go on forever.
God, we do. Hey, what's our next story?
Let's do this. Let's take a break and come back with your picks of the week. How about that?
Holy moly, we're not doing changelog?
No changelog? No AI log? Wow.
Sure.
Jeez.
Freaking hate
My
you
God,
guys.
did we add an AI log?
I just hate you guys so freaking much. You busted my chops here.
We're just trying to keep us on.
There were 3 AI stories. We kind of did them already.
It's true. That's true.
Let's see what the changelog has. I'll give it to you real quick. Changelog.
The Google changelog.
The theme is going to take longer than the changelog.
Yeah, pretty much. The Pixel 7a's free Pixel Buds and case offer ends this weekend. Buy your phone now if you were going to get one. That's actually a good deal, the Pixel 7a. I like it. Although the 6a is even less expensive and still a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Google Docs is adding...
Nope.
I put this in. I even put this in. Collapsible headings.
You had it up in the main feed and demoted it. I can't believe you even for a moment had it in the main feed.
Google Calendar and Microsoft Outlook are syncing up, kind of.
Really?
Kind of. Now, this is a story from Mashable. I didn't even know they were still in the business, so.
Oh.
I got a question for you. People send me calendar invites, and they're in ICS, and of course, I'm in Google, and you can't import them.
Why? What?
You
can't open ICS.
Yeah, you can.
ICS
Just click on it and save.
Yeah.
You go. Yeah, you got to go through all that Megillah. You can just. Whereas somebody who puts up a save this to Google and you just click and it's done is so much better.
Well, get ready, because on May 15th, that was 2 days ago, Google and Microsoft set it up to their calendar apps allow for more integration. They call it, get this, calendar interoperability.
Catchy.
That's
Catchy.
awesome marketing.
Allows you to productively schedule time and manage your schedule collaboratively regardless of your calendaring platform. Now, people who use Google Calendar and Microsoft Outlook with the same email address can receive both Google Calendar invitations and RSVPs in Outlook for the same calendar. Outlook will remind you about events created in Google Calendar, and recurring events from Outlook will update on your Google Calendar. So I think what it is, honestly, is they're starting to support. ICS is the standard. Google Calendar kind of did their own little thing, so it's a little more automated.
But it's better.
Yeah. More AI in the workspace. We kind of saw this at I.O. last week. Gmail Inbox, Meet Notes, Slides, Soundtrack Maker, all has AI now. Android TV has a live tab with free channels, just like Google TV. Those free channels. Actually, there's one free channel I don't normally, because I don't want to see ads.
Mm-hmm.
FreeV has the remarkable Jury Duty show. Have you watched that yet?
Oh, boy. No.
This is a reality TV show.
I saw an ad for it,
husband
though.
and kid are watching
I saw
that.
an ad for it,
They love it.
So it's legit, huh?
So, I don't know if I'll watch all the episodes because it's kind of repeating, a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
But the idea is, here, I'll play the trailer for you. This is an Amazon Prime thing.
Mute it, though.
But you have to watch it on FreeV, right? Their channel.
When they say jury,
So the idea is, why do I have to mute it? It's a trailer.
No, they're going to ding us.
Okay, don't ding us. So the idea is this guy here is a real person. Everybody else on the jury, the judge, the bailiff, the lawyers, the defendants are all actors, including James Marsden playing himself as the biggest egotistical buffoon ever.
Okay,
and
it's compelling.
But here's the thing that happened that they didn't expect. It's funny, right? Because it's like, you're getting punked, right? It's like candid camera. He doesn't know. He's not in on it. And so the jurors do all sorts of dopey things. They hit on each other. There's one juror who's like in the movement of the enhanced body movement. So he has a one of those bags where you water on it.
Oh, a camelback.
Like a camelback. But he says, well, the idea actually would be if I could have a bladder or some sort of bag inserted in my body, I would never have. And then he has another nozzle. He said, what's that? Well, that's a liquefied food. You see, I have water and I have food. And then he comes to the jury with crutches strapped to his ass because he doesn't want to have to sit down or keep people waiting so he can sit down at any time, but doesn't work with a jury box. It's funny. And this poor guy doesn't know it's all fake. He thinks, wow, I'm with the weirdest.
Man.
But here's the funny thing.
Ever.
Here's the funny thing, and the producers didn't expect this. This guy is like a sweetheart. Instead of getting angry or frustrated, he shows the guy sits on the crutches and has the thing, a bug's life, to show him that, you could be an outcast, but really you're also an innovator. He's like a sweetheart.
He's a saint.
Nothing throws him.
Outstanding.
And it's all of a sudden this guy, by the way, is going to be a star. He's all of a sudden.
Well, the question is, did he have to quit his?
He thought he was on a jury. Did
he have to leave his work and not be paid and then come to a jury?
Like
and
how did they? Like you do in a jury.
What do they do?
And
to
then
him?
the funny thing is, Marsden is there, and he wants to get out of it. So he stages fake paparazzi. They come and they're at the door and stuff. And the judge, instead of getting him out of the jury, he says, Judge, is going to happen all the time. I should probably not be here. The judge says, that's fine. We're just going to sequester you all. So all of a sudden, they're all staying in a motel together. It's actually very funny.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I would watch it. It's pretty wild.
How many episodes?
I don't know, because I'm just kind of losing steam on it. it's certainly the premise is good enough. The first few episodes, I'll probably watch a few more.
I've been seeing the ads. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, that's jury duty. It's a really interesting concept, and I think it got out of the producer's control because this guy turned out not to be reacting. They thought he'd be like all pissy,
right?
And instead, this guy's like a saint,
doing his civic duty.
John's asking a good question. Aren't the cameras a giveaway? No, he's told that we are making a documentary about jury duty, and we have chosen your jury. So they have documentary-style interviews of everybody, the actors and the real guy. They pretend everybody's real, and they interview him after, and they have cameras and stuff. So they're pretending, we're filming it. It's for a documentary we're doing on juries.
But they have to go through hours of like real boring court stuff to prove that it looks real
that's
like
a question.
boring
I don't
court
know.
stuff.
The judge is always adjourning.
They do.
The judge is adjourning all the time. He's always saying, that's enough. I don't.
I read one story where they don't show that to you.
Of course
they'll do 4 hours of evidence.
Well, the case
to prove to the guy that
is
it's
terrible.
The case.
The case is terrible. It's a civil suit. This woman is claiming that this employee ruined her business and her reputation because he got drunk and urinated on all the products. And the plaintiff has this really beautifully created 3D animation of what happened. And the defense attorney got his nephew to make something. Anyway, I'll leave it to you to watch. It's funnier if you compress it like that. Anyway,
have you watched The Diplomat?
Yeah, I started and I thought this is so good. I'm saving it for Lisa.
It's very good.
It looks
episodes 6 and 7 when they're off in a meeting. It's at a place called Ditchley, where I've been twice.
Ditchley in England, yeah.
Ditchley.
Yes. They, I thought this is like fake Aaron Sorkin. Turns out the showrunner is a guy who used to write for The West Wing, so there's a connection.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like that West Wing thing.
It does.
Finally, Pixel phones are gaining a new ringtone inspired by Kenny G.
Oh my God!
Shall I play it for you?
You go to sleep instead of answering the phone.
I wonder if it's on my phone. Here, I'll play a little bit of it. Will they take us down for this?
They will.
Screw them.
It's music. I swear, you always know when it's Kenny G on the horn.
Yeah, it really has a sound, doesn't it? Get ready for the name of this. This is the Kenny Jingtone.
And that was a Google change log.
And that's the Google change log.
Gosh, that's horrible.
God. Our show this week brought to you by our wonderful, wonderful studio sponsors, ACI Learning. Really, the reason ACI Learning wanted to sponsor studio, we're here in the ACI Learning Studios, is because they wanted you to know the name, because ACI Learning, IT Pro, is now part of ACI Learning. And we know you know IT Pro. Since they started 10 years ago, they've been a part of our family. We've been talking about all their great training. Well, now IT Pro is that much better. By merging with ACI Learning, they are now able to give you all kinds of valuable training in IT, in cybersecurity, in audit. They've got expanded practice labs. They're now up to 7,000 hours of content. All of this because the ACI Learning has empowered them to do so much more. In fact, thanks to ACI Learning, the days of boring, archaic training methods are finally over. Lack of meaningful impact shows up as low engagement. And we were just talking about that. That's suboptimal performance. The industry's completion rate on their videos averages around 30%. That's because people get bored, they drift off. It's just not good. ACI Learning is 80% completion rate. I think the same thing. It's entertaining, it's fun, and you are learning. You are learning. And what this means is your team is going to love the training they get from IT Pro and ACI Learning. In today's IT talent shortage, whether you operate as your own department or you're part of a larger team, your skills have to be up to date. That's table stakes, right? 94% of CIOs and CISOs agree attracting and retaining talent is increasingly critical to their roles. These jobs are not getting filled. There's a dearth of people with the skills they need. This is why it's such a good time for you to go to ACI Learning. Whether you've got a team that needs to get upskilled, that needs to learn more, that needs to thrive and invest in the security of your business, or you're an individual who wants to get into IT, you can keep your skills up to date or get those certs with 7,000 hours of content. New episodes are added daily. They've got 7 studios running Monday through Friday all day. That's partly, too, because this stuff never sits still. There's always new tests, new questions, new certs, new versions of software. You've got to keep up to date. You do and they do. And for training for your enterprise, there is no better way to keep your team compliant, ahead of the pack. You could choose an existing course and let ACI Learning combine modules for a tailored solution, or let them custom design a course to address your specific needs. Yes, they do that. In fact, ACI Learning's private boot camp will train your team alongside the most passionate, the best subject matter experts certified in the latest version of each individual cert. And when you do that private boot camp, you get full access to advanced reporting. Actually, anybody who's doing the team training does with ACI Learning's Pro Portal. Track and manage your team's results, manage seats, assign and unassign team members for customized courses relevant to their position, access monthly progress and usage reports, and they're very visual. That's helpful if you're justifying the spend of the higher-ups. You get immediate insight into your team's viewing patterns and progress over any period. ACI Learning trains thousands of aspiring tech and cyber professionals every year. And I'm so proud of them because they also provide scholarships to individuals from diverse backgrounds. Yes, you can get a scholarship. If you're transitioning out of military service into a civilian career, they're there for you with special deals for vets. Join the always-on tech training solution. In a rapidly changing world of technology, ACI Learning is in the studio every day to record and share relevant content that impacts your business. You can actually watch it live, just like our stuff. You can even chat with them live. Be bold, train smart with ACI Learning. Learn more about ACI Learning's premium training options across audit, IT, and cybersecurity readiness. The website is go.acilearning.com/twit. They do training for teams from 2 people to 1,000 people, and volume discounts start as little as 5 seats. Fill out the form, go.acilearning.com/twit. You can learn about a free 2-week trial for training for your entire team. go.acilearning.com/twit. We're really proud to partner with them. We thank them so much for sponsoring our studio. We know that they bring value to our audience, and that's why this is the kind of advertisers we love. Go.acilearning.com/twit. It's time for Stacy's Thing.
Okay, my thing this week is not a thing. It's a dump your thing, burn your thing, get rid of your thing, recycle it. This thing is the Wemo smart plugs. This week,
I just bought those TP-Link smart plugs, and I haven't even opened the box.
Those are different. These are different. These are made by Belkin Wemo.
Yeah.
Okay, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
You mean the ones that the serious vulnerability was recently uncovered in?
Yes, that was the one. So here's the issue. One, it's actually not that there was a serious vulnerability, although it is very serious. It could be remotely executed. It also allows the device to execute code, which means like someone who's not in your house or has physical access to the device could theoretically use this buffer flow vulnerability to get access to your device, install code that could then get access on the rest of your network.
But there's a but here, right?
Hold on. It's not great. So this is terrible. And the researchers was like, this is terrible. We should tell Belkin Wemo. So they did. And Belkin Wemo said, they're not going to fix it because
so you're literally saying burn these, not buy them. Don't buy them.
No,
burn
I said
them.
burn, recycle, get rid of.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice pick.
How about those TP-Link ones? Those are okay, yes?
So those are fine. Well, here's the next part of this, right? Belkin decided not to do this because the device was sold starting in 2019. They're like, it's close to the end of life. We're not going to update it. This is actually the second or possibly the third time Belkin Wemo has decided when faced with a security vulnerability to be like, that device is old.
But they're still selling them, aren't they?
Yes. To me, that says they do not care about you. Do not buy. Wow. I mean, this is exactly...
Do not buy anything from Wemo, I think, right?
Right. Belkin Wemo. Don't buy. They got purchased by Foxconn a while back. But so now you know.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, the TP links are fine. And TP link, when faced with vulnerabilities, has historically updated to. Yeah.
They, it's funny. We were talking on Security Now about a router vulnerability and how most routers don't auto-update their firmware. And I actually quote you all the time, Stacey. You've always said, do not buy any IoT device that doesn't have auto-update capability. And somebody wrote to us and said, hey, good news. I have a TP link. It auto-updated. It fixed it. It patched the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I think TP Link is a good company. Yeah.
A lot of the new ones do. But yeah, so.
Yikes.
So yeah, Wemo, don't ever buy their stuff, period. If I've ever shown you them, just say, Stacey, you were wrong. I mea culpa.
You didn't know.
Do it. I'm stopping
it's not
you now.
your fault. You didn't know, but they are still selling them, which is a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, when people show you who they are, believe it.
So it's not Belkin anymore. It's now Foxconn, or?
Well, let's see. Someone bought them. I think it was Belkin. Wemo purchased. Foxconn purchased purchased Belkin International that controls Linksys. Wemo.
Foxconn bought Belkin. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll stay away from all Belkin stuff.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
Belkin was always up and down because they would basically relabel no-name Chinese gear as Belkin gear. So some of it was very good. Some of it was not so good. I guess now we know they don't really care.
Profit.
Thank you, Stacey.
Wow.
Jeff Jarvis, a number?
I thought you were going to edit yet. Next. A few things.
I like rebranding the Wienermobile.
Well, all right. I knew you'd like that. Go ahead. You do that first.
I vote for that.
You're not getting off that easy. After 87 years, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is now the Frankmobile.
No. That's terrible.
Of teenage jokes? Is that what it is?
Well, you know what? Nobody calls them wieners anymore. I think that's probably the thing.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
I mean,
no one calls them Franks either.
No.
What do you call them? Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Hot dog.
It's a hot dog mobile.
My family.
What do you call them?
Growing up, it was never wieners. It was never Franks. It was weenies. Weenies.
Well,
I think the weenies mobile really is not going to be good.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work.
So it was always strange for me to hear wieners and Franks.
Weenies.
Beans and weenies.
Beanie weenies. We used to have beanie weenies.
We didn't even say
like
beanie weenies. When I saw beanie weenies in the store, that blew my mind.
You thought it was a family name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. We called them beanie weenies when I was growing up. I loved it. Baked beans and little pieces of hot dog.
Yeah.
That's Frank and beans.
Yeah. See, that's just
But
weird.
now it's Frank's.
That's just
But now it's
weird.
Frank's.
Why are you eating Franks?
All right, so there's one, the Oscar. I like that one. What else you got?
The other one is, in 2016, I went to Google Newsgeist, and a friend of mine named Jochen Wegner, who's the editor of Zeit Online in Germany, saw all us American journalists after the election. Stop yawning, Leo. I can see it on the I'm breaking the fourth wall, the fifth lens.
I've been busted twice today now for off-camera shenanigans.
This is the problem with Zoom. We can see
you can see me.
The
now.
audience can't, but now they know. Anyway, so Jochen said he watched all the journalists in America going nuts after our election in 2016, and he said, this can't happen in Germany. I got to do something. And he created something called Deutschland spricht, in which people answered questions at the end of stories about their views. And then they asked them, do you want to meet with somebody near you who disagrees with you in person?
Oh, God, that's my worst nightmare.
Is that, well, you're going to have your chance in a second. So had the chance. One
right
woman
here.
was matched with her.
It's bad enough I got to talk to Stacy every week. No, Stacy and I agree most of the time.
So now, and they now made it into I think it's Your World Speaks. Is that what the World Talks? Or Your Country Speaks. And people could do it in countries, individual countries. Now they're doing it across the world. On a given date coming up in June, if you go to theworldtalks.org and you answer, if you scroll down, you can just answer a few questions, very few. Sign up. Just hit sign up.
No.
No, you're not going to. Don't worry. You're not really signing up. It's Germany. They believe in privacy.
Did you get here from a friend? Yeah.
Scroll. Well, no, don't scroll.
Is the world a better place
than it was? Answer the question
20 years
honestly.
ago. Yeah, it is.
Okay, now
is this going to be like chat roulette after I answer the
Does
questions?
hard work always lead to a better life? No.
You're going to answer these few questions.
Should climate protection be a priority, even if it means sacrifices? Yeah. Should all countries sanction Russia for the war in Ukraine? Yeah. Should every company accept refugees? Yeah. Should state and religion be separated? Yeah. Should people of every gender have rights, equal rights? Yeah. Well, who would say no to any of this? All older generations living, oh, yeah, at the expense of younger people? No. Hell no.
Sir?
So then, if you
disagree,
tell them more about yourself.
Yeah, what do you do for a living?
Date, you'll be matched with someone around the world to have a one-on-one conversation.
Agitator.
Just what Stacy likes all the time is saying, let's have a conversation.
What do you do in
this is
your
your
free
chance,
time? Tweet.
Have a conversation with somebody who disagrees with you.
What makes you happy? Tweeting. What worries you? Twitter.
Tweeting.
Okay, and then now they're going to pair me up with somebody who disagrees with what I just said.
Yes.
Well, I got Ant
somewhere
right
in the world.
here. I don't have to go around the world for that.
I put in here, what do you do for a living? I put meathead. What do you do in your free time? I put whiskey. What makes you happy? I put more whiskey. What worries you? I put no whiskey. Let's see.
I was going to say too much whiskey.
No whiskey. All right, that's cool. That is at theworldstalks.org.
Die Zeit in Deutschland. In Berlin.
How did the original German version do? Did it do well?
So it did very well. My favorite part of the story was that one woman was matched by the algorithm with her father-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they had...
That would be my worst nightmare, to be matched with my father-in-law.
Exactly. I think they had 1,000 people who got together one-on-one in person, and there were no fist fights. Nobody.
Nice.
In America it might be dangerous, but in Germany it wasn't. And then they've done it in other countries since, and it's really kind of a neat experiment that says, you can meet people. And
it's one of those ideas that sounds good in principle.
I know, but it's kind of worked. Hey,
I'm glad there are people who will actually do that. Just not
exactly. Yeah. I was debating whether to do it myself and write about it. I don't know that I can. Because I'm going to get, you see, you know what it's like to disagree.
I just get upset.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just upsetting to talk to people who don't agree with my 100% correct points of view.
And the numbers you always present, which are always fact-checking.
Did we disagree
correct.
over whether old people are living off of young people?
Yes, we did.
You think that I am abusing your youth. Wait a minute, you're old.
I'm not old. I'm old-ish.
Oh, my gosh. We're so close to the end,
There's
y'all.
a difference. Sorry,
Don't you? I love having a host who's
Stacey's getting
for the show to be over
by the minute.
All right, Ant, it's time for your thing.
My thing, quick shout out to viewbug.com. Remember, I was a judge for a photo contest in Viewbug. It was the early morning photo contest. It was 17,000 entries. Thank you for everybody that participated. They whittled it down for me to pick, and I picked the list of
I can't get in.
Photos. Why can't you get in? It should let you in.
You have to have an account.
No, you don't. It was, shucks. I have to fix that link.
Does it mean I have to participate? I don't want to.
No.
Anyway, I'll sign in here.
Yeah, there should be a public link there, but viewbug.com, early morning
this is if I wanted to upload some photos, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see the Explore photo contests.
Should be completed. I had to fix the link for our show notes, I guess.
No. The link was fine. I clicked a button. It was my fault.
Nice work.
Yeah. Let me do that again, because the link that we'll put in the show notes of Twig says this is it, right?
Yep, that's it.
See, I pressed view winner. That was my mistake.
No, don't do that.
Don't press
just scroll
that.
down.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
That's a very, very.
Oh
very
wow!
All right, I got a question, Ant. Is that a real? How do you know that's a real photo?
I pixel peep. That was real. These are real.
Gorgeous.
One of them is actually an iPhone shot.
Wow.
That's the second run, the first run up, and then the second.
By the way, I said that because the first photo is so amazing. You think a computer made it up?
Well, yeah. I was like, I didn't know there was a place that looked like that, and then I'm like, man, where did these people find the horses?
Well, they were camping in that first shot, and they're like, "Yeah, when we open our tent, this is what we open our
beautiful
tent to."
That's why you camp.
Yeah, it's beautiful
this
stuff.
Is also gorgeous. Yeah.
Now, the last one there...
I'm glad you chose this, because it's not a landscape, and I kind of like that.
I made this one a part of the list, but I couldn't make it a winner because the file name says Night Train. It's supposed to be a morning contest.
Oh, well, but if you ride the train all night, the sun will come up.
Like,
The sun will rise up.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Isn't that what's happening here?
Yeah, maybe.
It's a night train.
I mean, that's what I assume.
Oh, that's another
that's
beautiful
pretty.
one.
That's the people's choice.
So what is ViewBug?
It's just another photo community. Think of Flickr.
Is that the Malmo Bridge, the one between Copenhagen and Malmo?
It looks like
is
it, doesn't
in
it?
Sweden?
Yeah, it looks
That's
like
pretty.
it. Yeah.
It is so pretty.
Oh, that'd scare me. That'd scare me bad.
My pick of the week next week is going to be for you, Mr. Jarvis. I'm looking forward to it. I've already picked it out. And my other pick, I want to say don't leave home without it. And it is as simple as this little.
This is
$20
from a guy who spends a lot of time on the sidelines. This is what you take to every football game, baseball game, soccer game, lacrosse game.
Or just because you feel like sitting outside, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's got a cup holder.
I had lunch
I've
today.
seen so many of these at the game.
Our Twit sponsored lunch today. I had it outside.
Oh, you actually took your hamburger and went outside?
I went outside. And
What
it's
a nice
because
idea.
I always have my chair with me. And part of that
you keep
comes
that
from
with you at all
just-
times?
Yeah, I keep an orange shirt
Where do you
in
keep
my
it, in your
trunk.
pants?
And my my shirt. No comment.
I thought those thighs were large, but I didn't realize you had a chair in there. No, these are, you know what? These are
they're
like
so
classics.
good.
This is a
You
classic.
can't beat
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
We
Everybody.
keep 2 of these in our car.
That's a good idea.
During the summer season for impromptu, basically like, oh, look, it's a festival, or oh, look, there's something
Right.
going on.
you
outdoors.
got
You
it.
need these all the time.
Yeah. So just
Yeah.
buy one, $20 or so, and throw it in the back of your car. It's always there when you need it. I use it for the.
Do you keep car
sports.
clothes?
The only car
have car
clothes I
clothes.
have is I have my I have an orange sweatshirt or an orange
What the
shirt
hell's a
usually
car
in the
clothes?
back of my car,
Car
just in case I
clothes.
want to go
What is
on a
that?
photo walk.
Car clothes.
Yeah, so we keep car clothes. We have a bucket. It's not a bucket. It's one of those cloth bins, and it's got a pair of sweatpants, a hat, gloves, scarf, a sweater,
Is that
Nice.
in
and
case
a blanket.
you go to the
Respect.
beach and your clothes disappear and then
No, it's because I live in Seattle, and like you
the
drive,
changes.
like
Yeah.
you're like, now it's hot, now it's cold.
Yeah.
Now it's-
Leo, while you were gone, these people both admitted that they pack screwdrivers in their suitcases.
He probably does
No,
too.
I don't have a screwdriver in my suitcase.
Screwdrivers
You
in their
have a
suitcases. All right,
multi-tool.
I
I
want
know
a
you do.
tour of Stacy's trunk.
I can see having one in your
that and,
trunk.
like-
That makes sense.
Yes.
The only other thing we have is the picnic blanket. I mean, we have the chargers.
Actually,
and
I do carry a
we have,
multi-tool.
like-
You're
See?
right. I carry a multi-tool.
Yeah, we
has
have
a
a
multi-tool.
multi-tool.
Yeah, that's a
In your suitcase.
Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
Lately, before we left on this last trip, I bought, Andy Anako recommended these 3 LED lights. They're like postage stamp size. And I just bought them and I kind of scattered them around in case, there's a fire, the lights go out. You got a light.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, we do also keep 2 headlamps in our car.
Headlamps.
Yeah.
Those are good.
I want a special outdoor version of Stacy's things,
Dude.
plural.
Oh, you know what else I
I want to
have
see the back of the car.
that I keep in the car at all times? I keep a special device that has a light. It'll have a blinker. It's like a flare, but it has a magnet on it, so you can put any part of the car, and it has a seatbelt cutter in it. So if you
You
so you
gotta
can
have
get out of
that
your
so you can
seatbelt
get
if you
out.
get in a wreck.
Can you use it to break the window to get out?
Yes, it has a little window tapper.
Yeah, the little hammer.
Yeah. I
Mr.
think that's a
Jarvis,
good
do
point.
you go camping? Well, probably
No.
not now.
You could
No,
tell.
in fact, I broke up with I when I moved to California, my girlfriend at the time was an editor of the Chicago Tribune, and she was kind of an outdoorsy person. And she came and she said, "We're gonna go to Yosemite because we have a reunion there."
And see, I haven't been to Yosemite
Chicago
yet.
when I
Oh,
was
you
in San
should
Francisco,
soon.
So great.
and it was snowing, and I said, "No, I'm not staying out in a tent."
Oh,
No.
dude.
And it broke up the relationship. And good,
Oh,
it was not
dude.
meant to be.
I went to Tahoe.
Do you keep car snacks?
camping. Yeah, there's normally some snacks in my glove box. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Okay.
car snacks.
My
Both
whole
of
life,
them.
my
Kleenex?
kills have yelled at me because I don't have tissues and water
Tissues
in my
are
car.
always in there.
And they
Napkins
said,
are always
Mom
in there.
has tissues and water in her car.
I have water in my
I said,
trunk.
I'm not Mom.
Yeah.
I have all that.
I mean,
Aunt-
we've got
And
got a
in
bag of
honor of
nuts.
your winning photo, I want to mention just a little thing in mind.
Sure.
Minion Fogarty. If you don't follow her,
Love her.
She's
Grammar girl. Grammar girl.
She's wonderful. She found out this week that there is a mountain in Washington State named exclamation point.
Oh, nice.
Don't you love that?
It is great. Did she find it on Peak Finder?
Good one. Good one.
There is something
What's her
called
name
Peak
again?
Finder. Minion Fogarty.
That
She's
was
on
like my-
Mastodon.
Fogarty.
She's Grammar
That was
Girl.
my pick of the week.
Oh, Peak Finder. Oh, okay.
Like, Peak Finder, like several, like
I
I
mustn't
think a
have
year
been here
ago
that
was one of
week,
my
yeah.
picks of the
Grammar Girl
Yeah, you
at
probably-
zirk.us. She is one of the original podcasters.
Yeah, she's great.
There she
Great,
is.
great person.
Wonderful feeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found her.
She's
Speaking
on
of
our
feeds,
Mastodon.
Stacy wants to do that now, I'll bet.
It's time to strap on the old feed bag because we're going to have to say goodnight to everybody. We thank you all for being here. Stacey Higginbotham is at StaceyOnIoT.com. She does the IoT podcast, and she is on the Twitter at GigaStacey. Thank you, Stacey. You are a jewel, a gem among roses. Thank you. Aunt Pruitt, there you know Aunt. Aunt's the guy,
Wouldn't
the man.
you be a rose among dandelions?
A rose among
Would that be more lovely?
dandelions.
West Georgia accent.
You
man.
are a nut among screws. He is our community manager at the Club Tour Discord. He hosts the hands-on photography show, twit.tv/hop. And he is available on the internet at auntpruitt.com/prince.
And apparently gets made fun of for drinking a gallon of water.
He has
on the set.
It's not that you drink a gallon, it's that you have it in a plastic gallon jug.
Yeah.
Why go buy one when I already bought one?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I get it.
And based on how late the day is, you've got
Yeah,
a
you're
lot of
behind.
water left.
I
to
got
drink.
a long way to go. Yeah, I'm behind. Yeah, you're right. I'm behind.
And
You
Mr.
mix
Jeff-
a lot of that with some whiskey, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just a
No,
few
never
drops.
put water in your
Just
whiskey.
a few
Just a
drops.
drop, yeah. The Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation, ladies and gentlemen, at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at City University of New York. You know him as Jeff Jarvis. You love his book, The Gutenberg Parenthesis, available for pre-order at gutenbergparenthesis.com. I will be back Sunday for Ask the Tech Guys. I'm going to demonstrate this thing, this little devil of a thing called the Flipper One. It looks like a little video game device.
It is.
It can steal cars. It can break into buildings. It's all sorts of things. It's the ultimate hacker's pen
And you can
testing
watch him get
tool.
arrested during the show.
Watch
It's
me
gonna
get
be
arrested
it's gonna
live.
be great.
And we
Yeah.
will now be able to take phone numbers at Ask the
Phone
Tech Guy.
calls.
Thank you, Jammer B. Phone calls. We have a phone number, 888-724-ATTG. That's a toll-free number.
But do you have a phone?
Yeah, no, we have no phone, but we have the number, 888-724-2884. So you can call now, leave your question for the Tech Guys on Sunday, or when we're on the air live Sunday, you can call and get on live using that phone number. Thank you, John.
Outstanding. Way to go, Mr. Jammer B.
Great.
We do This Week in Google every Wednesday around about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC at live.twit.tv. You can watch live or listen live.
We finish by Thursday most times.
Usually we're done by Thursday. If you are listening or watching live, chat live at irc.twit.tv or in the Club Twit Discord. If you're a Club Twit member, after the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at our website, twit.tv/twig. While you're there, you can click a button that'll say take you to the YouTube page. Yes, we have a fully dedicated YouTube page for This Week in Google. You can also use those links to sign up in your favorite podcast player, subscribe for free, and get that show every week as soon as it's available. That's it for the show. I'm Leo Laporte. We'll be back next week if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise.
Oh,
We'll
my
see y'all
gosh.
on the flip-flop. Bye-bye.
Oh, my gosh.
If you love all things Android, well, I've got a show for you to check out. It's called All About Android, and I'll give you 3 guesses what we talk about. We talk about Android, the latest news, hardware, apps. We answer feedback. It's me, Jason Howell, Ron Richards, WinTwit Dow, and a whole cast of awesome characters talking about the operating system that we love. You can find All About Android at twit.tv/AAA.